Oh, it's been so long. So long since that tale has happened. I believe now it is time to tell my story. This is the story of how I came to meet 3 other friends. Together we shared a night deep in the heart of Paris. There we exchanged stories containing strong language and moments that are not listenable for all audiences, and that listeners' discretion is advised. We traded such wonderful tales that include spoilers of the Case Study of Vanitas and any other anime. And finally, we express tales that come from our own heart, forming our own opinions, meaning that they did not reflect our group, the Dub Talk podcast, as a whole. And in this night of nights, under the stars and steamships, we talked about a wonderful case study. It was a book that I had picked up. It was written by a man named Noe Archivist. This is how I read the case file of Vanitas. Bonjour, madame and monsieur. Welcome to Le Dog Talk. I am your hostess, Megan, and with me I have the ladies' night.
Oh, oui. I don't know what I'm doing right now.
Oh non.
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Oh, who the fuck this?
Comment ça va?
Pourquoi?
It seems a baguette is in our...
Oh
The
là là.
impostor is among us!
Oh, les baguettes. Oh, oui, monsieur.
Yeah, don't mind me. I just sort of hitched a ride on the steampunk blimp, and now I'm here, falling like 5,000 feet in the air.
Actually,
Also, I might die.
sacrifices will be made.
Sacré bleu.
And all that other French jazz. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dub Talk, the show where a group of friends get together, shove this bitch boy out of an airship, and the rest of us drink blood.
Yes.
Tonight we're here to talk about the one, the only, the WAV, the wet-ass vampires.
Ah.
Took me a second, like, wait, what?
I was gonna be like, this could be an audio. That could be an audio file, all things considered. I was like, what?
Nope, tonight we ask you and your friends to get your ponchos, get your pools, your Shamu floaties, your wine, your bread. Because tonight is not just a ladies' night. Tonight, we see a sight that not a lot of people see. Ladies and gentlemen, bisexual Shamu is in the house.
Oh.
Like a Lisa Frank critter, it has emerged from the depths of your mind, glittering and glistening. And why? Because a bunch of people over in Japan looked at a little independent manga and said, "Hey, you ex-Shaft employees doing anything? Yeah, we got room in Studio Bones and Aniplex is giving us money. I got Yuki Kajiura on hold. Anybody heard of something called the Case Study of Vanitas?"
Yay!
Tonight, we are here to talk about the dub of the 2021/2022. I forgot the first half of this season came out this year. The second half of this show came out this year. Mm-hmm. It has been a long time. The Case Study of Vanitas, brought to us over from Studio Bones and dubbed by our friends at Funimation, who were then absorbed by Hime herself into Crunchyroll.
Womp womp.
It's the question of, did Hime absorb them, or did they absorb Hime and then skinned her face off and are now wearing it like in the Golden Kamuy episode?
Oh, God.
Jesus Christ, I replied to one text message and this is what I come back to.
Yep, welcome. Welcome to a Dub Talk episode. I would like to think that they, God damn it! No, it just hit my brain!
Oh, no. What did?
When you get it, you'll get it. When I get, we'll get to that. I want to see if you guys can figure it out first.
Well, I was about to say, it's funny the whole Golden Kamuy comparison came up.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We'll cross that bridge. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, Gigi. We'll cross that very nice French bridge when we get to it. As we wander through the City of Flowers, let me give you a summary per the back of the first volume of the Yen Press release of the Case Study of Vanitas. Yen Press, please fucking reprint the series, god damn it!
Por favor.
S'il vous plaît.
No,
Por favor is Spanish.
S'il vous plaît is French. You're in the wrong country right now, baby.
Andrew needs to learn his languages, Gigi. I believe that the way we can teach him the difference between French and Spanish is by locking him on the Disney monorail for several hours.
Por favor, something.
Yeah, that's it.
This is gonna be a great episode.
Also, per the last time I think Gigi and I went to Disney, didn't you say the monorail smelled like piss?
You did! It smells like cat pee.
I've never been to Disney, so I
We're gonna fix that. We're gonna go to the Polynesian resort and we're gonna get fucking drunk.
One of these days.
Anyway, rumors revolving around the Book of Vanitas, a clockwork grimoire of dubious reputation, draw Noe to Paris. What awaits him in the City of Flowers, however, is not long hours of treading the pavement or rifling through dusty bookshops in search of the tome. Instead, his quarry comes to him in the arms of the man claiming to be a vampire doctor. Thrust into the conflict that threatens the peace between human and vampires, will Noe cast in his lot with the curious and slightly unbalanced Vanitas in his quest to save vampire kind.
Slightly
unbalanced is a fun way to say batshit insane.
Oh, Vanitas is a fucking enigma. What's the fucking line?
An enigma wrapped in a mystery dropped into the body of a raccoon.
Thank you, basically.
Yeah, Vanitas is the human equivalency of a raccoon on methamphetamines.
Yes.
That escaped from, like, an animal testing facility.
Yep.
We'll get to that!
We'll get to that. Fuck you, Dr. Moreau.
It's all gonna be great.
Well, yeah, this show...
It's all gonna be great, and we're all gonna have a good time.
What
Jesus
the
Christ was that?
I spend too much time on TikTok.
So do I now.
Yep. I make TikToks on occasion. It's been very entertaining.
I like your one for Ash's birthday.
Anyway, this show.
Ash's got your day. Sorry. Yes, this show is a lot. And there's a lot to talk about, so let's just jump right into the dub, because we're here to talk about the dub. Like I said, handled over by Funchymation, Crunchymation.
I thought you said Frenchymation for a second, and I was like...
On, Funchymation!
I ship it! I ship it FedEx!
Ugh.
Funchymation. I like that name.
Why would you want to ship a creature that has cut open a tiny girl and inhabited her body?
That was the first thing that came to mind and flew out of my mouth.
We're gonna put these baguettes away now. This is getting a bit obscene.
Anyway.
I'm just here for the vampires, kids. These people have had not enough blood, apparently, today.
I'm tired, and I'm drinking a second cup of coffee so I can get through this.
Gigi is like, I've not signed up for this, but I did.
But I did.
I didn't sign up for it, but then
But
again,
I think
I did.
that a person I'm about to mention makes the sign up worth it.
Yes.
The dub of the Case Study of Vanitas was directed by one Mr. David Wald.
Woo woo!
and derided and written by one Caitlin Barr.
Yay!
David Wald, you'll know, is the director for The Stranger by the Shore, an episode we haven't done, but I'm pretty sure you guys can guess is coming. Given.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually.
As well as the dub for Bloom Into You over at Sentai. Caitlin Barr has written! She writes things! For series such as Angels of Death, Black Clover, and Darwin's Game.
Ah, yes, Darwin's Game. Oh, that monstrosity.
Listen, I put Angels of Death here because that should give you how good comedy horror writing is done for a dub.
Yes.
Let's just get it kicked off.
If I recall correctly, I'll start with this. This is the first more action-oriented show that David has directed. He's primarily done romance series, if I'm correct. He might have assisted directed on some action shows, because I think he assisted directed on Kamui, but as a full director.
What about Kokoku?
Yeah, I was gonna say Kokoku.
Oh, shit.
I forgot about Kokoku.
How could you?
I haven't watched it, Gigi. That's why.
That's not my problem.
Just because I own it on Blu-ray doesn't mean I've taken the time to watch the show, damn it.
Touche.
Just like 90% of our shelves here. You know what I mean? Gigi would.
What
know
do you
the
mean
struggle.
you own 300 shelves? Almost 300.
300.
And what if you own? What could you own 300 shelves? Sorry, no. What do you mean you own a bunch of shelves? Shut up! You know what I'm fucking saying.
I need 300
no,
shelves.
I know what you're saying, but I'm just like, I'm now picturing in my head, how the fuck can we fit 300 shelves in this apartment? We can't. We
Very
would have no
carefully.
bed. We would sleep on top of the shelves.
It's worth it.
Worth it.
So,
Yeah.
the directing and the writing of this show.
So now that Stephanie's point is totally invalid, let's skip to somebody else.
No,
Listen!
she could still go.
But my point still stands. He's primarily done more romance stuff and not a lot of action series. This is my first time watching a show that he's directed where it's more of an action series. And it's very interesting.
I think the fun thing about this show in particular is that I feel like Vanitas scratches an itch I haven't had in years.
Mm-hmm.
Case Study of Vanitas feels like somebody took a show from the mid-late 2000s. Basically, think of like your Full Metal Alchemist, your Black Butlers, your Soul Eaters, and gives it like a fresh coat of paint.
It gives it polish.
Damn.
It gives it a nice polish, and it scratches that itch that I didn't know I've been missing for a while.
Yeah.
It's got like the lovely action animation of Studio Bones, and it's directed by a guy from Shaft who did a bunch of the Monogatari. So if there's one thing...
That was him?
That makes
Yes,
a
I
lot
don't-
of sense with all them
Okay, now
fucking
it makes
Shaft
sense.
head tilts that are in here.
I can't tell you which
That
Monogataris, I just know he's done a couple of them. And the fact that he did Monogatari, he's done this, and he's currently doing Call of the Night.
Oh,
This
boy.
director really loves him some fucking vampires.
I guess so.
What a good, amiable person. I think it's funny that you said that because a lot of the time when I was watching this, I felt like I was watching Full Metal Alchemist and Black Butler had a baby. Except more thirsty and with vampires.
Oh, the show is extremely more thirsty than a
Like,
bunch of those other things.
This show has more sexual tension in 5-second scenes than some ecchi anime have in the entire 12 episodes.
There,
Which brings to a very good point. There's a lot of intimate type scenes in this show, and
Ugh.
they're very well handled.
Yeah, Gigi I think was going there.
Sorry.
no, well, I was gonna say, like, the casting to me felt very, very old school Funimation. Like,
Really?
the person who plays Jean-Jacques. I was like, oh, I've heard this before. I was like, oh, here it is, fam.
That one was very specifically done.
Like
for
the
reasons.
the person who plays Chloe.
Oh, that's
Ver-
probably specifically done.
Very,
Which
very
makes sense.
close to something else I've heard before. That whole arc to me felt very, very old school, but in a new way. And like, before we say anything else, let's get this out of the way. How many dub talks have I told you that I have suffered through terrible French pronunciation and accents?
I was wondering when this was gonna come up.
It's going to come up now.
Okay.
For those of you who
Okay.
don't know, my mom was a French teacher, and I have been ingrained in this language since I was a wee little baby, les enfants, if you will, to the point where I took it for like 8 years or something, so I can understand it and read it and speak it, but like not at all at the same time. So if you ask me to translate something into French for you, I probably can't. But if you show me the titles, like the titles of the episodes were not the French titles that were at the bottom, they found those somewhere else. Anyway, but I have suffered. How long have I suffered? Through
Probably
people,
since you first started doing this podcast.
through
alongside
people
us.
who cannot pronounce the word non correctly. For people who don't know what an accent aigu is. For people who can't say French words with a French accent correctly. And Caitlin Barr has not only sprinkled them through the dub in places that work with correct translations of them. But I don't know if David Wald got everybody a fucking French tutor or what, but there were maybe 2 instances in the whole 24 episodes where something was slightly off. But everybody else had like perfect French enunciation, perfect French pronunciation of all of the French words and phrases that were in there. And for that, mwah, le chef kiss. Bisous, bisous, bisous.
I feel like David's the reason why it worked so well, to be honest with you.
I can actually vouch for that, because I remember the interview with Zeno Robinson we did back in Anime NYC. He actually mentioned that David was very particular about pronunciations for a couple of scenes, including the specific way he was asked to say Jeanne.
Thank you. Yep. That's another one. Like, a couple of people didn't get it sometimes, but Zeno did it right every time. And like, French vampires are sexy.
So I want to like genuinely like. I watched a little bit of this in the subtitle, and it did not have as much charm as the dub did. Nor did it have, I think, the explosive charisma that the dub has. Gigi kind of brings up how it feels like an old school Funimation dub cast, and I do kind of feel that in a lot of the supporting characters. But I do think that they were a little bit risky with some of the leads.
Yeah.
And bringing in a couple of folks who were actually more known for working with Sentai.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
yep.
100%.
I was actually going to bring that up myself. But
then they were with Funimation.
And names that don't frequently cross over into the Dallas pool.
Yes.
For instance, there's no Adam Gibbs in here, for example, because he's the main one. He's one of the main ones recently that has crossed over.
I mean, there are some that cross over into both. We're not talking about them particularly, but like Brittany Karbowski and Lucy Gershon are.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like in terms of most recent memory, he's the big one that's crossed over.
Yeah, and the other big one I think that's crossed over is in this. And we'll get to them next. But I think the one thing that really works for this is the charisma and the chemistry, because that's one of the things that you don't really get to talk about with a lot of shows that are this show is what I like to call capital H horny. And it sounds stupid, but hear me out. As anime fans, there's a lot of stuff that is very ultra sexual shoved in your face. And a lot of it is stuff that is just ecchi, where it's, wow, White Fred McMayo here has seen cheese sticks breasticles. Like, the guy has fallen into her boobies, or he's found her panties, or he's walked in on her naked. And, like, the whole thing is, wow, it's so funny and haha horny that he saw boobs, and you're supposed to be titillated by that. And look, if it gets you off, I'm not gonna say anything about that. Like, you do you. Your fetish is your fetish, and I'm not here to fetish shame you. I'm here to criticize people who make this, who take the cheap way out and making stuff super sexual. This show, I think the only time you ever see anybody close to, like, having their tits out is Jeanne in her nightgown. And she's naked at one point. And there are more intimately romantic and horny bite moments that are very much the vampire metaphor for let's get it on. That happen, that have, like, very sexual moanings and grunts, and just, like, the music and the breath work from the actors and how they're directed is, like, that was the most disgusting noise I've ever heard. That's like that one guy's fucking sex music of noise.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the timestamp. Okay.
Jeanne and Vanitas alone at night in that cabin with that music.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my god.
Okay.
That's a mood killer for both of them, let's be real.
I disagree. I would say they have a very classical symphonic orchestra that's them plowing in the streets.
Oh, Jesus.
If anything, that's the soundtrack for white vanilla toast Ichi stuff.
You're right. But no, like, being able to get that out of your actors is a sign of really good direction.
Mm-hmm.
Because it never felt forced. That was some good, non-forced nom-noms.
I've said before that
Non-forced
David Wald makes
nom-noms.
good kissing noises. Now he makes good vampire slurping noises.
Nom-noms.
I think it's
nom-nom.
more...
Vampire,
I think
the
it's-
correct scientific term is now vampire nom-noms.
Yeah.
I will not argue against that, but I think the more correct way to say this, potentially, is David Wald is very good at directing intimacy.
That's what I meant.
I would
Yeah.
argue
That's
he
what I
is
meant, but the
legitimately
phrase-
the best
but the
director
phrase-
at directing intimacy.
But
Bar
the
none.
phrase vampire nom-noms.
I like...
Nom.
We will call it vampire nom-noms. I love it. But for the folks at home who are
Who
like,
don't
the fuck?
For the folks at home who need the Megan to English dictionary.
Yes.
But no, I really like the directing on this, and I do really want to kind of bridge Andrew and Gigi's point of this really does have the feeling of a old school Funimation dub with new paint, like how the show feels like an old school like mid 2000s action anime with new paint.
Mm-hmm.
Are we all good to move on to our first set of characters?
I was just gonna go into the
Oh.
whole point about, you were mentioning the whole bringing in people from Sentai. I actually kind of wanted to say it felt like when David was directing at Sentai Studios, actually, it felt like him working with the Houston cast, but also calling in a bunch of his friends and contacts from the Dallas side. And I feel like Vanitas is fun because it's a remote recording situation, so you've got people from all over, including, like, the California Sphere.
Mm-hmm.
But it also feels like the inverse of his Sentai directing projects, where he's bringing in a bunch of Houston friends, some of which are either not regularly in Funimation Dallas stuff, or maybe have never pulled up in any of those things, and given them some really interesting roles.
So I'm staring at one right in my face right now in that first group.
And a lot of what I want to say continues on into a lot of these characters and sections, but all I can say is, fuck, is this dub absolutely batshit incredible.
TLDR, direction, writing, fucking impeccable.
Magnifique.
Très magnifique.
20 out of 10.
With Vampire Nom Nom again.
Yep.
I'm getting a fucking vampire nom-nom shirt out of this, aren't
I want one.
Hardy.
I'm gonna message Val and get some
Please.
artwork.
Please.
Y'all gotta send me your favorite anime vampires, and we're gonna get them with some cake or something, and it's gonna say Vampire Nom Nom.
No.
Yes, I love that. Oh, hell yeah. Anyway.
Andrew gets a shirt too.
Yes. It's gotta be pink though, sorry.
Alright, it's whatevs.
Alright. Damn it! I was gonna say, if we were doing the section after this, we could tie it into the pink, but we're not.
Oh, damn.
Dr. Moreau is clearly a reference to the island of Dr. Moreau. He kidnaps children and experiments on them, mostly being the titular Vanitas, aka, let's get it out of our systems.
I'm ready.
Number 69.
Nice.
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 It's less nice when you realize, oh, this is human experimentation. and
Every
very
time.
dramatic.
Every time. Number 69. Boyfriend would say, nice.
Nice. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, but he was working with the Chasses, who are essentially nobody expects the French Inquisition, and then they found out he was experimenting on Vanitas in number 71 to infuse them with blue blood of the vampire of the Blue Moon, who is essentially the anti-vampire that everybody hates, to open up 2 clockwork grimoires. When that experiment happened, the vampire of the Blue Moon, otherwise known as Luna, came and stopped it, killing everybody but Dr. Moreau, and essentially getting asked to be rescued by number 71, whose name is Mikhail, or Misha if you're cool with him. He is Vanitas' quote-unquote little brother, And he's got a lot of unhinged feelings about Dad being gone.
Quite a few characters are a bit unhinged, but that's
Everybody
beside
in
the
this
point.
show has parental issues.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, Mikhail ends up, in the last act of the series, kidnapping and hypnotizing Domi in a way to get Noe to bite Vanitas to expose his secret to the day of why Vanitas killed their father, aka Luna, who's actually just non-binary. They go by they, them pronouns in all of the media. And essentially, they want to bring them back to life. So playing Dr. Moreau is Scott Gibbs.
Fuck you, that's not Scott Gibbs.
It is Scott Gibbs. He's still hot.
I know it is. I'm just
Okay,
like,
Gigi.
He's still hot?
You clearly
as
have
Dr.
never
Moreau.
listened to me talking about how hot Scott Gibbs is. No, I will say something funny when we start talking about them, though.
Now, we don't have time to unpack all that. Playing the Vampire of the Blue Moon is Marissa Lenti, and playing Mikhail is Bryson Boggist. Scott Gibbs, you'll know for a lot more of his work over at Sentai, being Time to Ruin Everybody's Day if you've now realized at this moment in time that Scott Gibbs was Dr. Moreau. Was Tobio Kageyama in the Haikyuu franchise, Satoshi Ishiki in Food Wars, and Jota Kizuki in Run with the Wind. Marissa Lenti is characters like Ilse Longar in the Attack on Titan OVA Ilse's Notebook and Attack on Titan Junior High, Yuriko Hori in Horimiya, and Yuzu Roromori in The Ones Within. Bryson Vegas, a lot more of you guys would know for his work at Sentai, but with Funimation, Bryson has been characters such as Falco Grease in Attack on Titan the final series, Mitsuru in Darling in the Franxx. For everybody wondering, man, I forgot Darling in the Franxx. Who's Mitsuru? Mitsuru is the guy whose partner cheats on him with another girl, and then he has to marry them. That's him, right?
What?
I don't know.
Oh no, wait. Which
No,
one's
that's...
Mitsuru? Oh,
Mitsuru's
Mitsuru was the
the
guy
one-
doing the fucking.
Mitsuru's the
Yes.
one that... Yeah, that... God, no.
Mitsuru's the one who did the deed and
fuck-
got a girl pregnant.
Pregnant.
Oh my
I had sex once and now a girl is pregnant.
Yes.
I got him confused with Futoshi.
Oh, that's
That's another...
That's Blake.
guy.
That's Blake Shepard.
Blake
That's
Shepard's
right. That's
character.
yeah. Poor Blake Shepard's character, and he's also Izumi in Shikamori. Isn't just a cutie.
Mhm.
So where do we begin with this box of tragedies?
Did you know that
Okay.
Bryson played another vampire? How could we forget?
Oh yeah, that's right. He's in Diabolic Lovers. My apologies.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm just gonna start off with this and say, while they have the least screen time, how in the actual fuck is that Marissa Lenti? That is the deepest vocal register I think I have ever heard from their work, and it's kind of incredible, but also equally ethereal
Yes.
and almost alien, but with a level of warmth, sincerity, and charm I really was not expecting from this character.
Oh yeah. It adds a little touch to the Vampire of the Blue Moon.
I also just
lot.
think, like, it's very fascinating seeing this character dealing with the fact that these children were forced to be related to them against their will, and dealing with the fact, Megan, I'm gonna steal something you told me earlier. They are not the stepdad, they are the dad that stepped up. They are a warm paternal figure that really was there for them in their time of need.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually kind of heartbreaking watching her talk to Baby Vanitas. I wasn't sure if you were going to mention this earlier about who played Baby Vanitas and Baby Mikhail.
I was going to say them when I talked about Mikhail and stuff.
Fair
But yeah,
enough.
no, Baby Vanitas is Jeremy Lee, and Baby Mikhail is Steph Garrett.
Which, my god, just absolutely... One episode performance from Jeremy absolutely broke my heart to see. That kid has been through so much, and they were just kind of always like that. But it's also really funny watching it turn out, oh, I usually hate the, oh, pretty girl is bad at cooking, but it's a lot more charming when it's this ethereal, mystical creature who is just bad at cooking, and then, like, gets really salty that the kids are saying their cooking sucks, and then chucks the spoons down, and then pouts.
There's a little pissy fit. It's great.
And then Vanitas
I am not bound to any gender.
legitimately blown away by, like, this warm, deep kindness that Lenti puts into Luna in particular.
I enjoyed it too. Yeah, like you said, it's very ethereal, very like otherworldly, and yeah, I don't recall ever hearing Lenti go in that deep of a tone before. So, it's a nice touch.
Am I a boy? Am I a girl? Who knows? But everyone finds me hot, and that makes everyone gay.
Damn
Luna.
right.
No, I knew it was Lenti, not because I looked at the script, but like I could tell by the voice. And I think that Lenti really does do a great job in such a small moment, because it does feel so... It feels like a character who is very tired and just very much wants to live in peace and find a way, and like is just very okay with their life and the life that they found. I think having those kids really kind of brings them to a new place. And that's why I think the scene with Mikhail in the bed where they like, I could make you my kin, and Vanitas doesn't want it. Vanitas wants to die as themselves. And you can hear the understanding in their voice, knowing that that's okay with them, I guess. And also when they die, how they want, I guess in the same way, they wanted the same thing as Vanitas, to die as themselves. Because their true name was being taken. And they were going to turn into a monster. That's a big thing in this. All vampires have a name and a true name, and if the true name becomes corrupted, they go fucking batshit.
Mm-hmm.
And terrible things happen. So no, I genuinely liked what little of what Lenti was in the show, and so was Luna. I really liked it.
Made a big impact for a short time on screen, but was a very wonderful addition to the series.
Lenti is now everyone's daddy. Welcome. That was really good.
I'm here for it.
I didn't know it was them. And even after looking at the BTVA, I didn't know it was them. And I was just like, excuse me? That's amazing.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's kind of inspired casting. Really liked that. The daddy who's named after the cat from Sailor Moon. Like, I'm down. Chris was like, you know Luna's the name of the moon, right? I said, don't take this from me. Don't take this from me. And other things that Chris has said, he said, wow, who plays Dr. Moreau? Is that David Wald? To which I said, absolutely not.
You know,
David Wald is Astolfo's dad. I found you.
I'm gonna be real with you. Rewatching this show again, I actually do hear a lot of, like, vocal tics and quirks in, like, a lot of more exaggerated David Wald performances in Scott Gibbs' Moreau, so I kind of get where Chris is coming from.
I get it, but the vocal tone is totally different. It just makes...
It's a little too young.
It makes it really, like, interesting to listen to. Moreau is such a bad guy. It kind of reminded me of when Scott Gibbs was in Devil's Line. Anybody remember that shit show?
Oh yeah, Hans.
Johan, right?
Han or something. Johan, I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah.
Shit, I don't know.
I have a question. Is that the one that jerked off in the stairway?
No, that was the
was
other
brother.
Gibbs.
Well,
Got
they
it.
may
They're not
not
brothers.
be related. Did we ever
They're
find
not.
that out? It doesn't matter.
They're not.
That was
But
Adam Gibbs.
no, Adam Gibbs. Okay, look. Scott Gibbs usually doesn't play emo boys. That's Adam's job.
Yes.
Yes.
This is true.
Adam was the one who let all of his little swimmers go to the black parade in the hallway.
This is where the we're going out into the hallway joke emerged and had then died, and now we're bringing it back like 4 years later.
Deep cut.
Don't worry,
guys.
don't worry. It's always with the vampire shows that the hallway will.
The hallways come
Anyway.
with the vampires.
Hallway Chan will always be there for the vampires.
Hallway Chan is just a different it's just Truck Coon in a different form at this stage.
So,
No, Truck Coon's a serial killer. Hallway Coon's a slut.
That's what I mean. we're manifesting Hallway-kun as something like we did Truck-kun.
I'm trying to figure out where the fuck to even go with this. Usually I'm ready for this, but even now, I'm kind of just like, I don't even know.
How about I help a little? When I
Watch out, young men with libido. One day you might be walking, and out of the corner of your eye, a hallway will be there to lure you.
There will be lipstick on the wall. You'll think, wow, that's kind of sexy. Maybe I should go check out that graffiti over there. Oh, graffiti, no. It is the lips of Hallway-chan, ready to devour you at any moment.
Gigi, what the fuck are you talking about? Isn't that just a glory hole?
I don't know. Scott Gibbs is really hot. He's also really good in this, and it creeped me the fuck out. So bravo, Scott Gibbs. I'm sorry. I should really stop saying that he's hot, because if I ever talk to him in person, he'll be like, "Oh, you're that girl who keeps calling me hot."
Hole. You were digging your hole.
I will say this though, I want to give this as a compliment just to the show and the series of Case Study of Vanitas. Dr. Moreau is the doofiest fucking character in the show. Mm-hmm. He is straight up new age Shao motherfucking Tucker.
Yeah.
And he is doofy and he's goofy and he's like a Looney Tune. And yet, I was more threatened by him than anybody else in this show.
I'm gonna be honest, it's really a strength to the series in itself that he is basically as eccentric of a mad scientist as can be, and he's also fucking horrifying. Absolutely fucking horrifying.
His entire conversation when he was... And I gotta give Scott, credit, because I think a worse performance would have leaned too hard into the camp. Mm. But Scott was able to draw the line between camp, creepy, and threatening all at once. In, the way that... It's like watching... It's like... Okay, it's a weird comparison, but if you've ever watched... Who here's watched the Made in Abyss movie?
I have. Are you saying he's kind of like...
Don't spoil it for me.
I won't spoil any of the names, but he has very much the same level of moralic understanding as the main villain in that movie. Mm. His stuff is childishly done. He's the child playing... He thinks that he's basically playing with dolls.
Yeah.
And, it's only at that moment where he's like, yeah, so you guys might be vegetables, but that's a loss I'm willing to take. No one's missing you. And Scott just delivers it perfectly.
I just think there's also this kind of... One of the most fascinating things to me is watching his relationship with Vanitas. Specifically, the fact that Vanitas knows how to play his game. And he basically knows, oh, if I just stroke your ego off, you're gonna give me everything I need to know. And he falls for it hook, line, and sinker. But he also used that as a defensive mechanism to protect Mikhail and put himself in harm's way. Which makes the whole scene all the more unsettling and uncomfortable as you see Noe finally just give up and be like, oh, you're a fucking garbage piece of shit, I'm gonna fucking throw you. But Scott is absolutely insane, crazy, goofy, and absolutely fucking threatening as fuck. It's an impressive tour de force all around. Great job and inspired.
I when I first watched the first half of this show, I had a whole this is bullshit moment in a good way. I couldn't figure out for a hot second who was voicing Dr. Moreau, and then I was like, wait, I feel like I know this voice. Where have I heard this voice before? And we looked at it, and we see Scott's name attached, and I'm like, fuck you, that's not him. Fuck you, that's not him. But then it keeps going, and it's like, I could hear those vocal tics that once I knew it was Scott, I could hear those vocal tics that I'm very familiar with a Scott Gibbs performance, which helped me out. But fuck you, that was nuts.
Mm-hmm. I think, though, one of the things I'm actually surprised about was that unlike another character who's around, I would say, the same-ish age and is also male, I'm actually surprised they went with a male actor for, Mikhail.
Oh, okay, that's where we're going with this.
I didn't really see, I really didn't see that them doing that, and I actually think it works. Like, Bryson plays a lot of very good Sunshine Boys, and he does, thank you for bringing up Diabolic Lovers, because if I'm right, he played the kind of, mood swingy baby vampire in that,
Yeah, the
right?
blonde idol one. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes. So, but I think that Mikhail's Unhinged is a lot more different than that, because it's very much, Mikhail is unhinged from the moment you meet him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, the whole scene where he's talking about the vampire who killed his prostitute mother, and, like, even fucking Roland takes a step back for a second, is like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that was really uncomfortable.
That was Steph Garrett doing it, but, like, I think Steph nailed it. But for me, I think the thing that really got me about Bryson's performance is that, like, you can tell that he's undone, but you can tell it's not he's undone from a place of, like, genuine malice, but from being manipulated.
Yes.
That he is nothing more than a scared little kid. Because the next episode, after everything ends, and he shows up on the rooftop to talk to Vanitas about what really happened to their father, and he just, Bryson's, like, child wailing just absolutely broke me. And then just, like, the whiplash of him going, okay, I'm done, I'm leaving, fuck you.
Yes.
On his robot dog.
On his robot dog.
I love this as a steampunk show, too, by the way.
I also really like his delivery of how he likes Domi because Domi was the only one who was kind to him during all of it.
Yes.
And you just feel really bad, and I think Bryson did a good job bringing out the pathos that Misha/Mikhail is supposed to bring. And I genuinely kind of really, I know this last year in particular has really been, I think, a breakout for people who haven't seen shows like Haikyuu, where Bryson does really, really good work, but, like, unfortunately, as much as Haikyuu is very popular, it's also not Attack on Titan, and I think that Bryson's really broken out again this year because of that, and I think that this also shows why he is such a strong dramatic actor, because he really got to walk that razor's edge where a character like Mikhail can go from pathos-inducing to just being an over-the-top cartoon if it's not done right.
I absolutely think Mikhail is so strange, so alien creepy. I'm not sure alien, but it's just, there is just something about Mikhail that is so sweet, but also so unnerving. It's got, like, this, Mikhail's level of creepy is, like, friendly death cult creepy, where it's basically that level of, like, like, friendliness, kindness, greeting you with a smile, they're happy to lend you an ear, hear you about the day, but they're also willing to show you about who their god is, tell you that they will set you free, and that you're gonna go on a journey if you drink this Kool-Aid. That level of, like, deranged, unassuming, like, smile, sinister smile. Does that make sense? Does any of that make sense?
You seen the
Yes.
trailer for that movie Smile?
No.
Oh my god, you need to look it up after this, but there's a movie called Smile, and it's coming out either the end of this month or in October, and that's what Mikhail reminds me of. It's just creepy as shit.
But I think Mikhail is so, like, I think Bryson as Mikhail is so fucking fascinating, and you're absolutely right, Megan. It so easily could have towed a line if it was not done with tact and respect, and I absolutely think Bryson makes him unnerving, uncomfortable, but also when you see him absolutely lose it and basically throw a tantrum when he doesn't get his way, and he doesn't get to see his big brother kill his new bestie. And he just throws, like, what is basically a violent tantrum and corrupts himself. And it's a real tour de force in a show that's already got a lot of unique tour de force performances. But I absolutely think this is one of the most unique, uncomfortable Bryson roles I've ever heard, and it's fucking great.
I will say that for like the first couple minutes, I thought it was Justin Briner doing a Baby Deku voice, and I was like, please stop. But once I found out it wasn't Justin Briner, I was like, okay, we can go on with our lives now. This is just creepy. It was weird. I don't care for the villains that are like little children, and like, I don't know, like the voice in this was just so baby. You know how we joke like, oh, she's baby, he's baby. Like, no, this was actual baby. And I was kind of really taken aback by the contrast between how crazy that Misha could be, and then how whining and crying, and like, no, he's literally got the mind of a child in however old he is now. So
Yeah,
it's just very
trauma will do that.
unsettling. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, considering how Mikhail was brought up before he was taken in by the Chaussées and then Dr. Moreau.
Yeah.
Before we got human experimentation, we got the stuff with his mom, and it's like, woo, we don't have.
Yeah, that's
We don't got time to unpack all that.
No, we're leaving that suitcase over by baggage claim at TSA. But Bryson did.
I'm sorry, Delta has lost your luggage.
In this case, probably for the best.
Air Canada has said no. No.
No, monsieur.
No, monsieur.
Air France has dumped your luggage into the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh my god. But
Whoops.
Bryson was really good. Like, I want to say like, oh my god, all these people were so good at their jobs, because shocker, they were. But no, I think I'm ready to go to the next, if y'all are.
I am.
Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of the Chaussées, let's talk about them. They are the quintessential members of the church in France, because, you know, Catholics. They run the catacombs, you know, that thing under France where they just happen to have a bunch of skulls in a hallway.
As you do.
As you do, as a developed nation.
Ooh.
It's really cool down there. You guys need to go at one point.
It is actually really cool, and I'm very mad that the one time I went to Paris, I didn't get to go because the line was too long and we had a train to Amsterdam.
Oh man, like, I will tell you guys, if you ever get a chance to go back and go, you should go. But damn, that walk up those stairs almost killed me. There's like 1,500 fucking stairs, and I was like literally done
Man,
by the time I got to the top, and no elevator.
Oh,
me who fucking has a struggle walking up the New York subway cries.
I was like, I have 6 steps to go up to my apartment. Sobbing the entire. No, I'm just joking, guys. No, you should totally go. And looks nothing like what they showed in the anime. So
Yeah, there's a lot more skulls.
it's awesome.
I was gonna say, let's save up to fly on La Première on Air France and go to Paris. Anyway, so let's talk about them. First up is the Chevalier. The I forget what gemstone. What crystal gem Roland is. Is it emerald?
He has green eyes and he has blonde hair.
I don't know. What is this about emeralds?
No, because all of the chasseurs have the gemstone color.
Oh, I
Remember?
missed that.
No, I actually
Yes.
don't remember that.
Actually.
He's the Roland of Jasper.
Okay.
He is essentially the nicest of the chasseurs, who kind of ends up taking a liking to Vanitas and Noe. He also believes in the you that believes in the you that believes in him, therefore making him Catholic Communa.
Oh my god.
And next up, we have Roland's boss slash
His
very
overworked and very
underpaid
friend.
boyfriend. I mean boss. The Olivier of Obsidian, whose name is, well, Olivier. He's overworked, underpaid, and done with Roland's bullshit.
Yeah.
And finally, we have Astolfo Granitum, known as Astolfo of Garnet. He is also a chasseur who's got a couple of things wrong.
He's
And-
working through some things.
He's working through some stuff. And if you're wondering, man, Japan really likes to name pink-haired little French bitches Astolfo.
I don't believe this one's packing a monster can, though, to be honest.
Oh my god, why did you have to say that?
Megan, of course I'm gonna say that.
Gigi and Steph are like, I have no idea what's happening.
Yep, we're just chilling right now.
Don't worry.
Look,
about
I
it.
know what Astolfos are.
No, do you know what the monster can thing is?
No.
No.
Don't worry about it.
Cool, I'll be here Googling French words.
No. Also, by the way, all of the Chasseurs are named after, they're all named after, one of the Knights of Charlemagne, who are a big Christian French mythos.
Okay, got
Charlemagne
it.
was real.
Doesn't mean they can't make up stories about Charlemagne and make fictional friends for Charlemagne.
Fate is fun historical fan fiction.
Gigi, Charlemagne needs his OCs.
Oh my god.
Roland is played by Rico Fajardo, Alstofo is played by Brandon McGinnis, and Olivier is played by Christopher Waycamp. Rico Fajardo, you know his characters such as Zane in The Duke of Death and His Maid, Kiro Rockne in Golden Kamuy, and Takeru Goda in Surrey Dure Children. Brandon McGinnis, you'll know his characters such as Gin Asakiri in Dr. Stone, Alan Lemaire in Joker Game, and Al Lyon, who is also French, in Opera Roman. Christopher Waycamp, you'll know his characters such as Helmut Felt in Bem, Tenka Kumo in Laughing Under the Clouds, and Mac in Megalobox 2 Nomad. I guess I'll start with Olivier and get him out of the way. Good God, Christopher Waycamp is just using his dad voice.
It is just his dad voice.
Just the dad voice, it's great.
It's so good, though.
Again, he's done with Roland's bullshit, like, all the time.
I mean, to be fair, I'd also be done with Roland's bullshit if I had to put up with Roland all the goddamn time.
I'm not mad about it. This is like my daddy vision, this fucking anime shit.
He's,
Like,
he's definitely a handsome-looking gentleman, for sure.
Also, he has a fucking chainsaw sword.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That's pretty fucking metal, yeah.
Can we talk about the fucking chainsaw sword? Because when I saw that, I was like, is that a fucking chainsaw?
That's what I said.
I didn't notice it at first, and Andrew looks at me, he's like, yep, that is indeed a chainsaw.
I had actually forgotten he had a chainsaw, but I was like, hey, good for him.
That's like his one characteristic other than he looks good in a top hat is he has a chainsaw.
He's got a couple of really fun interactions with Roland, but to me, the big scene with Olivier is Vincent's romantic problems.
Yes.
And he's just out for coffee and scones with his boy Roland, and then they're just see him and it's like, oh hey, you want to care to join us? And then he's like, you can tell Vincent's desperate when he sits down to talk to Roland for advice.
Because Vincent does not, aka Vanitas, does not like Roland one fucking bit.
He is the antithesis to everything he likes, and he is basically it's basically watching one of those edgelord introverts deal with the most extroverted camp counselor known to man. And it's very funny. But anyways, Olivier's contributions is that, oh yeah, no, I'm great with ladies. I've had a couple of ladies before. I've taken a few. It's all good. I'm more than happy to listen to some advice. This should be fun.
I love Roland. I love it. Women throw themselves at Olivier. All the ladies in the audience, gee, I wonder why.
And then it kind of turned out he was smart enough to pick up. Is that the fucking Blue Moon guy and his vampire friend?
Roland, that's Vanitas, isn't it?
He's like, oh, you got me.
He's like, no. Roland, don't fucking lie to me, dude.
Roland's got the worst poker face, but I think
Roland hanging out with Olivier is like watching watching Neil Gaiman's Sandman hang out with Regina George.
Oh my god. But no, I think Waycamp does a great job. For sure. I definitely want to save my personal favorite of this trio for last.
Yeah, we'll let Andrew talk about them last because I know they're Andrew's favorite character.
So, I want to say, I think actually one of my favorite scenes for Waycamp's Olivier is actually his introduction.
Roland, what the fresh hells have you gotten us into this time?
No, that's not the right. That's not it. When he visits Roland in like the secret library thing, and Roland's doing some research, and Olivier is essentially just like, you shouldn't be looking into things that you should not know about. because you're gonna cause some issues. And Roland's like, I haven't touched anything of the secret tomes. And this actually is a really good scene for Rico as well, because he subtly threatens Olivier, and it's the greatest shit in the world.
Hey, Hey, Olivier, how many paladins do you think I could take in a fight, right?
Yeah.
In a fight,
right?
I think literally my favorite line from Olivier is, what in the fresh hells have you gotten us into this time?
Yes.
But man, so let's talk about, so yeah, I knew that was Brandon immediately, because it's also very much akin to his, Gen voice.
Yeah.
That is very much his Gen from Dr. Stone voice, but holy bejeebles!
Utsuro from Demon Slayer is over here just sauntering in the corner with his unhingedness, and he goes into Astolfo a touch.
This is definitely, like, the higher range of Brandon's register, but also, like,
Holy
absolute, like, trauma screams.
Also, shout out to, I believe it's Amberly Connors as Baby Gen?
It is Amberly Gaunt.
As Baby Astolfo, yes.
As Baby Astolfo. You said Baby
Baby
Gen.
Astolfo, my bad.
Yes.
But, like, good God almighty, just... Also, by the way, you want to know who that little boy vampire was?
Oh, Andrew told me, and I couldn't believe it.
Gigi, do you have a guess on who that was?
What little boy vampire?
The one who's like, oh, don't your friends say that name? Astolfo, the one that killed all of his family?
Oh, I don't know who it is.
That's Jamie Markey.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, is that fucking wild?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I could hear it a little bit once the mask drops, but I was still like, holy shit, though.
Oh, man, like, just Brandon's action screams.
Oh my god.
Especially at the higher register. Like, Astolfo has to play, like, this like, definitely more unhinged. And I'll be real with you, it's a lot more of a complicated character than the Demon Slayer one is. Just having to deal with his own biases. And even though Noe isn't trying to hurt him, his just unbridled rage at all vampires being evil because one tricked him and took away his family. But man, that part I think that kills me about Gen is when after the battle and after everything with Chloe and Jean-Jacques, where Roland finds him.
Mm-hmm.
And he just immediately age regresses to the child that Roland found.
Yes.
That day where he's just like, you have to save my sister. Please just save my... And it's a lot of what I liked out of Bryson's Mikhail. Just that, like, that moment where you're like, wow, Astolfo really hasn't lived past that day.
Yeah.
He's trapped in the past. And I think that's a thing for a lot of characters in this. The theme of just being attached, the trauma of their past being what prevents them from moving forward and growing as people.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, good God, Brandon does a lot in that. And he's just got, like, that originally that very cheery smile. And it's like, aww, look at the baby. To SpongeBob, why is that in a cage? It growled at me, sir.
I say Utsuro from Demon Slayer is hiding in the corner, because Utsuro is an interesting enigma in and of itself. I always find it terrifying when an actor that I'm used to almost their natural tone of voice or similar to that tone of voice going completely unhinged, and it gets terrifying. This is what happened with Brandon for me. Because, like, again, having watched Entertainment District arc for Demon Slayer and seeing Utsuro, that one I'm more amazed with what the fuck he did with that, sure. But Astolfo ended up being more terrifying, if that makes sense.
For sure.
Because of just, it's just like, oh no, this poor boy, oh no. Like, everybody has fucking family problems. It's ridiculous.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
But yeah, I do adore that whole scene after the dust has settled, and he had his violent duel with Noe, which felt like a very nice thematical challenge for Noe to overcome is, how do you reason with somebody who cannot be reasoned with?
Yes.
Which was a very satisfying to see him overcome that fight, and then to realize, yeah, Astolfo is the traumatized victim who has still not made it past the day he was saved by Roland.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about with Demon Slayer. I was just like, wow, Brandon McGinnis is like losing his fucking mind.
And you love it.
I do. Not that I love to hear him scream in pain, but at the same time, I was like, I bet he's having a good time today.
He does a very good job at screaming in pain and agony.
Yes.
I was like, this dude, he gonna drink some tea after this shit. But no, it was really good. I don't know. I found Astolfo just like at the end of the first half of this when they bumped into him on the train and he was named, and I was like, oh shit, he's gonna be important because they just named him in the closed captions. But I didn't think.
Whoops.
Oh damn it, he's not Thug A.
Yeah. Vampire 08B, you know. Guys, this is how I watch closed captions with the dub on, just to make sure that my shit is correct.
It's honestly not a bad way to approach it either way.
Also, I'm like super deaf sometimes. But
Okay.
no, he did a fantastic job. I mean, like, I think the last time I heard Brandon McGinnis was in Gymnastic Samurai, which is a total
Oh yeah.
360 from what this is. And yeah, it was really good. He like Astolfo, like all these, I think all the villains in here had to have such a duality to them because they all have these tragic backstories. But he did a really good job of flipping between like the trauma and the I'm gonna kill you, sucker. So
Yeah,
bravo again.
Is it time to talk about Andrew's husband?
Why?
I'm
Why? Why do you like
He's not
him?
even my... Okay. He's not even my husband. I think Roland is genuinely one of the most fascinating characters in the show. I truly, truly do. And a lot of this has to do with the fact that his introduction is so striking. Because they very much are establishing, oh, this is a dude who's kind of a weirdo, who's very into God, he's into the God stuff. But, like, when they're sneaking into the catacombs, he just kind of sneaks up behind them.
He's into the God stuff, aka, called being a Christian.
Okay, some of them are more into it than others, and a lot of them like to play around with what is or isn't
Fair.
Christian. That's a story for another day. Anyways,
We're
Roland just...
also talking to the Jewish boy over here too.
Fair.
I've also been on the internet and read news, just saying.
Anyway.
Anyways, blasphemy aside, Roland! I love his introduction because he just kind of sneaks up behind them in the catacombs, and you're not sure if he knows that they're there or not, but he kind of makes this, like, unassuming presence, and you can kind of feel it in the fact that, like, Vanitas is freaked out, that this dude's pretty fucking strong. And then he's just talking about, oh yeah, this is the trophy room. This is all of the vampires that all of these retired legendary chasseurs have killed. That's all the ones on the thing. And then, as he's walking them through, kind of establishes his dominance, throws Vanitas in a fucking cage, and then is ready to kill Noe because he's a vampire, and vampires gotta fucking die.
Mm-hmm.
Rico as Roland is fascinating. He's genuinely this cheery, like, holier-than-thou, goofy, eccentric person. Like, he is wearing his heart on his sleeve, and you think this is a dude who's unassuming and uncaring. No, Roland is calculating, he is cunning, and he is way more observant than he lets on. He's got this very silly persona that he's kind of like this passionate god guy, but no, he's actually the real fucking deal. The strongest thing about Roland is not just that he believes in God. He believes in himself as God's servant. Which basically means He does not hate himself. He loves himself so much that he believes he is going to get the job done. And Rico exudes this level of strength, charm, and kind of terror into him when you see, oh, he really thinks he could kill all these people if they crossed him. It's also just kind of fun watching him befriend Noe after Noe is basically arguing with Vanitas like, God fucking damn it. We can talk to them. They're not our enemies. We're trying to track somebody else.
Roland is probably one of the few people, especially among the chasseurs, who is more open-minded. To an extent.
And it's not from actual malice. It's just he had been taught up his entire life. Vampires are evil and to be exterminated.
Yep.
And then he meets a cool one that yeets a guy at him, punches him, and then is like, hi, my name's Noe. Can we be friends and trade information? I think I can help you if you can help me. And then he's just like,
Basically.
oh, okay.
It's like, oh, why didn't you say so in the first place?
And then he just becomes like a consistent ally to them. But I think Roland is just this... Okay, I didn't want to say this. Roland is Catholic Mirio Togata.
God damn it, there it is.
He's got that same...
God.
He's got that same, like, big brother energy to him that Mirio does. He's got the same level of, like, goofiness and, like, playing the role of the fool as a strategy to catch his opponents off guard when he's actually a fucking strategical genius and is a schemer and has the strength to back it up. No, I'm just kind of rambling at this point. I think Roland's genuinely a fucking fascinating foil in a show like this, and I think
He's the anti-Vanitas.
He is everything that Vanitas hates in a person, because he is loud, boisterous, holier than thou, and just probably a little too clingy.
And cool with love.
He's full of love. He has so much love to give.
Let's talk about how the chasseurs are pretty much okay with getting it on in the name of the church. But, like, I think the thing that I like about Rico's performance as Roland is that it is so very Rico.
Yes.
Like, this is, like, a very quintessential Rico performance. And I think the thing that works is because this character is a lot of the ways like Andrew describes. And I think the thing that I like about him most is that Rico plays him with such a brutal honesty. Like, he's like, hey, bestie, that shirt makes you look fat.
Yeah?
I think that's why it works so well, and I think it works off of as a high-energy foil to the already very high-energied Vanitas.
Mm-hmm.
And having these two fireballs just bounced off each other, like, constantly works really well. And I don't really have much to add because I think Andrew nailed it so hard. I think my other favorite thing that Roland does is that whole scene where, like, a lot of the hesitations that he gives in moments, like how I mentioned with Mikhail, where, like, you can hear it in the hesitation in Rico's voice, and, like, how I think that is the only time that it was ever really faked, was when he said, we're gonna get you to a new home with other kids. Because, like, even he didn't know how Mikhail was going to adjust.
He also had no idea about Mikhail's story.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could not really, like, comprehend it.
Yeah.
I also just love the fucking romantic advice scene on his end.
Oh
my
god,
God.
that episode's hysterical.
Where it's literally like, he is out of options, he goes to a guy he fucking hates for romantic advice, and then I think one of the things I love, if you want to go onto the whole brutal honesty thing, where Vanitas basically straight up says, how can anybody love somebody like me? And then he basically just kind of openly says, I knew you didn't like yourself, but it's clear that you absolutely hate yourself.
Yep.
And then in that case, that's where the whole Kamina thing is.
Let me
love you for loving me.
Touching me.
Oh god damn it.
Oh my
God damn it.
god.
Sweet Caroline.
Ba, ba, ba.
Good times never seem so good. But
So good! So good!
and that's a good way to describe all of these performances. So good, so good, so good.
Gigi, do you have anything?
Sorry, I'm like, my brain is going in a million directions tonight. Yeah, I didn't realize it was Rico until I read the cast list. I don't know why I can't place Rico Fajardo
really?
in things. Yeah.
Okay. That's the only one I'm gonna call you out for at this point.
Well, at first I thought it was Josh Greeley, and then it wasn't. I don't know. Like, I think maybe because, and this is like a complete opposite, because I didn't want to shit on Andrew's parade, that I just fucking hated Roland as a character. Like, I hated.
Okay, you're just wrong.
I hated everything about him because, like, I grew up Catholic.
Yeah!
So basically Gigi has a vendetta.
I mean,
Roland would be the guy singing "Jesus Love Me," this I know the loudest.
and
Yes.
I have lots of words that I'm not going to share on this podcast about religion or anything involving it, but it just, like, I don't know, like, the whole thing kind of hit me the wrong way, and I was like, is he being sincere in everything that he's saying, or is he just being, like, an overly religious kind of zealot person? And Rico did a good job at towing the line. You know, I don't have a lot to say about Roland as a character, just because I really disliked his blonde eyelashes. I don't know.
I think the thing that's clear to me is that he is like a servant of the church, but it's also clear that, like, he believes in himself more than anything.
It's very, very holier than thou kind of.
Right, which is why
he's
is the
a
whole thing a
fascinating-
parody? Is it supposed to be a parody? Do you play it as a parody? I don't really know. Like, it just seemed like a weird. And Roland is very smart, like, continuing to, you know, once he comes across Vanitas and Noe in the catacombs, and is just like, oh yeah,
Like, he's
you're a
threatening.
chasseur like me, you know, blah blah blah, and then, like, locking Noe in the cage, or Vanitas in the cage, whatever, and then, you know, calling him Vincent in front of Olivier. Like, it was just, he's very smart and very calculating, and so, like, I don't know.
I just find his whole thing. This isn't even a thing about religion. Christ almighty. I am not the person that's going to be going up to bat for the Catholic Church. Gosh fucking damn it. I just think Roland is a very unique foil and a lot more interesting and calculating and, like, meticulous than I was expecting, while also just kind of being this weird, goofy dude that's actually a good dude, but also knows he's fucking powerful. And I think that's fascinating.
I like how Gigi brought up the holier than thou thing, because I think Roland and Alstofo are both different spectrums of that.
Yes.
Where Alstofo believes that gives him a right to extreme violence and prejudice, where Roland believes that it gives him the power to just do whatever he wants and befriend whoever he wants. Secrecy be damned. Are we good to move on to the next part?
Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's a lot to talk about this.
Oh man, let's talk about pretty much a majority of what season 2 is, and that is
Beast of Gévaudan.
the Beast of Gévaudan arc. Which the Beast of Gévaudan was said to be a beast that appeared in Gévaudan and ate women and children. As you end up finding out in this, it is basically a time loop where a vampire named Chloé de Arpère has basically kind of trapped everybody in this because of her malnormity, and the man who loves her enough to try to save her. But the big characters in this part are Chloé de Arpère. She is
Dacier.
Dacier. Wow, good job, Megan. Dacier, the daughter of the Dacier family who was born a vampire. Her family, especially her father, started messing with the world code, which basically makes up how vampires and stuff existed, to try to turn her back, and she kind of becomes a victim to her own loneliness and the feelings that she has of never being wanted and loved by her father for who she was. Jean-Jacques Chatel is the boy who falls in love with her, and eventually trades his true name to become powerful enough to help and love her. And they're kind of like hate and love cycle. They both kind of very much come from the same place where they had parents who didn't love them for how they were. Kind of is this toxic relationship that eventually gets broken. We also have Dante and Johan. They are what are called Damfiers. They are half human, half vampire. They are information brokers. There's also a third one that is played by Lucy Christian, but she doesn't get to show up as much, so sorry, Lucy. They are information brokers, and they kind of have their biggest part in this part of the series, because you also find out that they're working for a vampire senator played by Jason Marnocha, who's the one in the big robot suit. But that character shows up once, and sorry, Jason Marnocha.
He looks cool, though.
He does look cool as fuck. So Chloe is played by Brina Palencia, Jean-Jacques Chital is played by J. Michael Tatum, Dante is played by Ian Sinclair, and Johan is played by Josh Graley. I'm gonna start with Ian and Josh. Ian, you'll know his characters such as Lizard and Africa Salaryman, Klaus Warwick in Code Geass Akito the Exiled, and Romano in the Hitalia franchise. Josh Graley, you'll know his characters such as Fempt and Blood Blockade Battlefront, Taishi Jikamoto in the Eden of the East franchise, and Kotetsu in Kami-sama Kiss. Now, Gigi, you brought this up earlier.
Yes.
Brina Palencia, you'll know his characters such as Lizue and Kasher Sins, Nae Tanoji and Steinegate, and of course, Holo and Spice and Wolf.
And now, why is that relevant to this conversation?
I'm getting there.
I never even thought of that.
J. Michael Tatum, you were thinking Ciel and Sebastian, weren't you?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yes.
Are you fucking kidding me, Gigi?
Well, at first I was
mean,
thinking
she's also
Hellgirl
correct.
and Sebastian, but now that you said that, I sure
God.
was.
J. Michael Tatum plays Mycroft Holmes in Case File number 221 Kabuki Show, Shizuka Domeki in Holic, and Kraft Lawrence in Spice and Wolf.
Gigi, there's literally a fucking wolf!
I cannot believe we
Yo.
went to 3 different places and none of us are wrong.
Yeah,
It's
none of us are
literally
wrong.
it's literally that picture of the office and the people pointing the finger guns of Brina Palencia and J. Michael Tatum pair rolls.
Anyways,
Yes.
we don't need Spice and Wolf Season 3. We got Case Study of Vanitas
But we are
covered.
getting Spice and Wolf
But we
season
are getting
3.
Spice and Wolf Season 3.
It's not going to be as good as this, let's be real here.
Ooh, those are fighting words.
Oh my god, I can't unsee it now.
You can't unsee Spice and Wolf?
I can't. Oh my god, you don't understand the images in my brain at this moment that they just fucking flipped Spice and Wolf the genders.
It's an alternate universe,
Have you?
and it's great.
So before we start talking about the performances here, this is the arc where I felt like I was missing something the entire time, and I must have fallen asleep somewhere because there's so many plot holes, and absolutely like 90% of this doesn't make any fucking sense.
Oh no, there's no plot holes.
There
There's
are
just
no
a lot happening.
It's just a lot of plot and story elements getting introduced.
Like Chris was like, "There's a time loop." I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" They were
The
just
time
on a
loop
train. Like, when did we get a time loop? Did I miss something?
The time loop was her malnomity.
It's literally the malnomity. They talk about the fact that like there's the army guys that were killed the other day that reappeared again, and she's kind of just living stuck, frozen in time. forever.
She's frozen in time because Chloe wants to kill herself.
Yeah, I got that part. I just didn't fucking realize that they were stuck in a time loop until at the end when it wasn't snowing anymore. And I was just like, what the fuck just happened? And Chris is like, oh, they're in a time loop. And I was like...
Yeah, because everybody in Chloe's life was honestly trying to fucking use her. That's
It's
why.
fucking awful. Like, secondly, there's a movie. This reminded me of Beauty and the Beast a lot. Like, there is like a true Gaston in parts of these. Oh my god. And I'm going to bring this up because now I can't get it out of my head. There is a French movie from like the 70s called La Bête. And that is all that is in my head right now. And I can't get it out.
I think we've talked about that
We
before,
did,
you and I.
and Noah Clue, I'm so sorry, but please don't watch that with your wife. But
Or
Jesus.
do.
There's a lot of things Noah should not watch with his
Well, no,
family.
Jenny is doing a thing where she's watching all the Beauty and the Beast adaptations.
Oh.
And I was
I'll
talking
be right
about
back,
this
by the
one,
way.
and he's like, well, let's find it. And I was like, I can't remember what the name of it is. So we literally Googled it in my Netflix history
Yeah.
for 25 minutes trying to find the name of this movie.
I remember this.
And then he watched
I
the
remember this
trailer,
happening.
and Jenny's like, I don't want to watch this. And I was like, you don't want to watch this. It's fucking weird. But now that's all I can think about, and now I hate myself, and
Whoops.
I'm gonna go back to thinking about Brina Palencia's Hell Girl and my crossover fanfic with Sebastian from Black Butler, because this is what I got out of this.
Gigi, you're not wrong. Like, you're not wrong. It's just a different iteration.
I was gonna ask, did you want to start with those two, or did you want to start with...
No, let's save
don't
Poncho
care.
time for the end, because Ian Sinclair is involved, which I have asked also if we could like retire
I'm
the
sorry, hang
poncho.
on.
Can we retire the poncho?
Okay, hang on. Okay, I have to actually ask.
Please don't yell. Stop yelling.
Is Dante Poncho time?
It means Ian Sinclair.
Poncho is Ian Sinclair time.
Dante?
No.
No, just Ian Sinclair.
I know, but like, I think that was the thing that was the funniest thing to me, knowing I was doing this episode with you, in that there are all these extremely attractive anime vampire people, and Dante just looks like a fucking guy you're just like chugging back beers with at a
Dante
bar,
is not.
and you're
Dante
getting
is not my
shit-faced with.
thing. To
Dante's not her
be
thing,
fair,
but the voice is.
The
Dante
voice
is like the Ian Sinclair character.
It is the most Ian Sinclair character.
Yes.
It is very funny because a lot of these people are playing like French vampire people, and Dante is just Ian Sinclair. It's so fucking funny.
Okay, so if we're talking about the fact that this is like an AU for Black Butler for like CL and Sebastian, does this technically make Ian's character his character for Black Butler?
Fuck.
the narrator.
No, he's the
Not
Gardner?
not
the
Finian.
gardener's Jason.
Not Finian. It's Bothroy. I think.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, I
though.
think he's like the
He's the
mechanic or the
cook.
cook or something.
He's the cook.
Ian
Yeah.
also directed that dub.
Sorry, the
didn't
last
Yeah,
thing
they
I
did.
remember about Black Butler was I watched the live action movie, which I don't suggest anyone do.
Dante is the most Ian Sinclair that Ian Sinclair could Ian Sinclair.
and he's fucking hilarious
It's great.
and so done with Vanitas's bullshit.
Calls him a quack on a constant basis.
Because he is. It's very funny.
Yeah, he's right.
We all love Ian Sinclair. It's fine, Andrew. You can pick your jaw up off the floor now.
You know what? I actually really liked his performance being so callous and stuff.
I did too.
Because he definitely seems like the guy who has literally gotten drunk in every bar in Paris and lost a fight.
I loved it. It just reminded me of like him doing like that fucking. Didn't he do a Cane's commercial?
A raisin cane?
Did he?
I think he did some kind of commercial that's like around here. And I was like, it just reminds me of him just like sitting around eating chicken like constantly. But like his plot hole is like the biggest plot hole. And I can't forgive Dante for that because I want to know what happens, even though I know now that the
What?
manga
What
is
what plot
like
hole?
not
What
done.
do you mean his plot hole is the biggest plot hole?
What?
There's like the thing that him and what's the guy's name? Johan?
That's not a
Oh,
plot hole. That's
no,
just that's just
just a thing.
story element.
No, but who are they going to see and why are they like being so shady around Noe? And like what's the deal there?
They're going to see
We were talking about that earlier. They literally...
Hold on.
they're going to see Marcus Machina, the guy in the robot suit. They said that they were working for
Yeah,
him.
but why?
Because
they're hired for as like
They're hired for information. They're being paid
But
to
why? That's the plot hole.
do it.
because no,
It's
that's
not a
the
plot hole.
So okay, so Chloe's family had been doing research for a while into the world formula in order to try and make Chloe human again, and they created this machine type
Yes,
thing.
I got that.
That's
The Phantom of the
that's
Opera
the
machine.
that the guy is
I got it.
Yes, that's what the guy is interested in and wants Dante and Johan to bring back to him. That's what it is.
Also, apparently, reading up, they did cut a lot of his character stuff out of the anime, so it's not as much of a plot hole as it is just not
Just
adapting.
not there. Okay. Well, that makes a little more sense.
Yeah, because it's very clear that Dante and Johan and Vishay, the girl one, will literally do anything for fucking money.
Good for them. Good for
Okay.
them.
That makes more sense now.
Yeah, to the point where Johan literally puts a knife up to Vanitas' neck and says, if you fuck with my business, I'm gonna fuck with you.
Oh god.
Oh my god, yes.
So I love that scene because a lot of this is that he is basically Megan, I think you were telling me that that Johan's basically the gay best friend.
Yeah, Johan's the token gay of the damps.
He's their emotional support. He's their emotional support friend that basically is the middle ground of like, okay, you're all a bunch of personalities. I am the voice of reason.
Yes.
So when
My reason is if you fuck with my money, I'm going to fuck with you.
I think it was even more that it was just when Vanitas threatens them and you're like, if you hurt Dante, you hurt
That's
anyone
what it
I
was, yep.
fucking care about, I will end you.
Yeah, that's his boyfriend.
It was just like a nice mic ink drop of like, oh shit, this character who's kind of just sort of like the flamboyant voice of reason is like, I will end you if you hurt the people I care about. I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
And that's always the best type of Josh Green performance.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, it's a delightful character, and I'm glad Josh is just having a ton of fun playing this character, as much as Ian is just playing this drunken and bar-hopping guy who has just walked into this vampire anime. And I love him for it. It's so
I think my
fun.
favorite thing about Josh as Johan is, like, it's just so entertainingly Josh.
Yes.
Like, I put Fempt down, which is one of my all-time favorite Josh Brolin performances, and this is very much the line between, like, Fempt and a normal Josh character,
Yeah.
where it's like, okay, everybody, so we got the thing, let's go home. And I really like how, by the end of that arc, they are both kind of like, what the fuck do you want us to do?
We are in a world-ending crisis. We can't fight. We don't even know what's going on. Find my book. Okay?
Okay!
We're helping! And they helped.
And I
And then they got
helped.
their thing. And I helped.
And I help.
But yeah, I think Ian and Josh are a very fun part of the ensemble cast. And I think they've got a lot of fun interactions, including Dante, where he gets to hang around and tag along on the fake date. And he just sees what is
That's it.
basically-
This is just a regular date now. I'm leaving.
He's just like, I hate this.
Yeah,
I hate everything
It's
about
like the
this.
best episode, though.
he just runs into Dominique for some fucking reason, and he
He
just
gets
decides.
dragged along.
I
just
like the end
chooses
of
to
that
stay.
episode where Noe is just mumbling how much he wants to drink Vanitas' blood, and Dante is just sitting there, and he's like, bro, are you okay? That and in the last episode, are you gonna apologize for punching me? Yeah, sorry. Is that all you're gonna give
Yep.
me?
Yes.
We just had a lot of drama go on, and then he's like, oh yeah, you don't matter. It's like, fuck you!
You.
Oh god.
Speaking of characters with a lot of drama going on, Chloe and Jean-Jacques.
Oh boy.
Which-
I would say to start with Jean-Jacques.
I want to say this, though. In the best way possible, I'm really happy that this was Brina and J. Michael Tatum. Because it's been a hot minute since they've been in a lead in a show together.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just, I want that back. I missed how good their chemistry is between each other.
Yeah.
Like, also, shout out to, I believe, Emily Fajardo is the younger version of Jean-Jacques.
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
it is.
Emily did fantastic as little Jean-Jacques. And just, like, you just feel so bad for this guy who all he's ever done is want to love somebody who has never felt love in her life. You can hear the heartache of it. And I feel like in a lot of other anime, their role would be switched around. Where it was the girl who would be the domestic one, not the science knowledgeable one. It would be the guy having the very nihilistic suicide attempt where nobody, like, cares about them anymore. But it's the reverse, where he becomes the beast for her.
Yeah.
And you just feel that in J. Michael Tatum's performance. And I love when he's walking up to Chloe, who's been trapped by her own device, and he just kind of, it finally hits him after all of these years, after the hundreds of years that he has been in this, where he's like, time and time again, I've killed these soldiers thousands of times, hundreds of thousands of times. I've lived every day like this, but I never, and how he finally realizes that in everything, Chloe didn't need someone to go out and kill for her. She needed someone to just take her as she was. And it was also screaming, kiss her, you idiot, a lot.
Valid.
Mhm.
And then on the other side, you have Brina playing such a tragic character, and I love the visualization of her as the bird in the cage.
Yes.
And I immediately really like how established Chloe's possessiveness is, of how she wants her life and her fate to be, when she literally just tells, I believe, Noe, don't you know I'm very clingy, because he tried to kill Mania. I love how that comes back to her sauntering up and fucking choking out Mania, going, don't you know I'm clingy?
No.
It's not that she's- it's not
That
that-
is not the line.
You quiet. You quiet
What's
down.
the
It's
line?
not that she's,
She's
clingy. It's
jealous.
that she's jealous.
No. I
that I
wrote
could-
down the line because it's literally one of my favorites in the show. I warned you, I am a terribly jealous woman. One of my absolute favorite
And
lines.
Brina's fucking delivery.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite deliveries in the show, and it's so fucking
It's like
good.
watching Brina pull out a sword and just shove it into like someone's body. It's so good. And just the amount of pain and depression that comes across in Brina's voice for this character. Like when she talks about laying in the field with Jean for the first time, where she just says, I could have died in that moment and have been happy.
Yeah.
And you forget that she stopped aging at 11. And she sounds so mature until the moment where she breaks from the cage and her malnomity, and she's falling down with the two people she's ever really truly felt love towards, Jean and Jean-Jacques, going, all I ever wanted was for my family to love me for who I was. Because at the end of the day, I like that the show's biggest thing about Chloe was that Chloe herself didn't do anything out of a sense of jealousy, and like she didn't do anything to be malicious towards anybody but herself at first, but her sense of like hatred became just nihilism to the extreme, where she accidentally drew everybody else in because no one would extend their hand, because if they did, they just didn't do it in a way that would ever really help her. And the other scene with Chloe that really gets me, and Brina's like performance with how much she sounds like a scared child, is when Ruthven tries to make her promise him. And she's just like, why are you doing this to me? And it's just this moment of like someone just absolutely just breaking her trust and heart.
It's I love how the whole Spice and Wolf thing came up, obviously because reasons, and similar to you, I kind of do miss like Brina and Tatum being like leads in a show together, because they have such great like on-screen chemistry together, which is fantastic. And this is just like, I don't want to say a return to form. I want to say, what do I want to fucking say?
It's very nostalgic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's very nostalgic. And I love how this was handled. And it's, both these characters are very tragic in their own way, because we find out with Jean-Jacques his childhood, because he basically makes Noe drink his blood, and Noe's special vampire boy. So he's able to see into his memories, and we find out that Jean-Jacques doesn't have the greatest upbringing either. It's a very interesting and intriguing story how these two met, how these two got to know each other and really just became a comfort to each other. But Jean-Jacques also feels a lot of guilt when he finally realizes Chloe never intended on staying alive once she accomplished her mission. He had no clue, and then once he was told about it from Noe and Vanitas, he just suddenly realizes all of these subtle little things that Chloe has said or done, and it's just like, why have I not noticed that before? And just seeing Tatum have those moments of like realization, just kind of breaking down, it's just really heart-wrenching. And then with Brina as Chloe, again, both of these characters are very tragic. I mean, there's not much more with Chloe that I could say that hasn't already been said at this point, but goddamn, does Brina do a fantastic job with this. Like, it's so much fun, and it's, oh, I love it. They're very good, they're very strong performances in this arc in particular.
I was just happy to hear J. Michael Tatum voice another butler.
That's all that matters.
I mean, really, like, it's been a hot minute since I think I've heard him in anything that I've watched, to be honest with you. And Brina, I can't get it's been a long time since I've heard anything substantial for her other than Minetta. So when I first heard Chloe, I was like, I didn't get it. I didn't get the voice. But then when I realized, oh, it's Brina Palencia, and she sounds like she did, like, what, 10, 15 years ago doing Hell Girl? And I was like, I get it now. It's like I was talking about during, I know you guys weren't on this episode, but during the Excel World episode, Kira Buckland really, like, grew into her role there. And I think this was kind of a slow start for me to hear Brina as Chloe. But as the arc went on, I feel like her performance just grew and blossomed into this role to make Chloe, yes, somebody who's very upset and sad and everything. But, I mean, now she has a purpose just to keep on going, and she has to decide that she wants to go on. So I thought it was really, really great towards the end of the arc for both of them. And y'all, I just really like when J. Michael Tatum talks. Like, I just do. It's just a thing. He's good at it. It's been a while.
He's good at talking.
He's good at talking. Like, I could just listen to him talk about random shit. Like, I say Howard Wang could, like, read the phone book. Maybe J. Michael Tatum can read, like, my Google search history or something and just make everything sound very polite and regal. And I'm down with that. Even when he's playing a butler who turns into the werewolf of Gévaudan, which, if you guys ever played, probably didn't play this, there's a board game that was around a while ago. It's called Nightmare. It's Australian, I think, and you put it into your VCR. Like, this is how old the game was, but you played a video.
Wow.
And there are little characters that go around the board that are based on some historical, some non-historical characters. And one of them was, this is how I'm saying with the accent according to this actor, Gévaudan, the werewolf. And so now every time I heard Gévaudan, I was like, oh, it's Gévaudan the werewolf, thanks to the guy who looks like Meatloaf on my Nightmare VHS that my dad instilled in me when I was a wee little baby. So enjoy that school of thought. I'm surprised like nobody was named Elizabeth Bathory in here. I really could have gotten behind that, but
I feel like as the manga goes on, we're probably going to get Elizabeth.
Oh my God, I
Bathory.
hope so. I did a project on her when I was in high school, and everybody was so, again, I went to Catholic high school, and if you know who Elizabeth Bathory is, it was a little weird and a little strange to do a project on Elizabeth Bathory in a Catholic high school. And I was like, I don't care. This girl is the GOAT. Like, this is what my project is. It was great. I got an A+, so
Hell yeah.
Hell
my
yeah,
girl.
vampires. I've always loved vampires. This is not, just start at Diabolic Lovers and die at Vanitas, fam.
So yeah, definitely adding on to all that, I agree that Tatum and Brina are delightful. I think Tatum's he's definitely very suave, very charming, very Butler-like, ironic for a couple of reasons, but, I think he's just a good boy, and I think Jean-Jacques is definitely a very good lad doing his best. And definitely the scene when he's trying to reach out for Chloe, absolutely broke my heart, and I wish nothing for the best for them. And I honestly would say that I think Brina as Chloe is probably one of my favorite performances in the second half of the show. She's got this very, ethereal, regal air to her that is just absolutely entrancing and just absolutely air of mystery, air of tragedy, air of everything going on. And then just absolutely fucking kills me when she's trying to kill Mania. Oh god, that line where she's like, I told you I'm a terribly jealous woman. Just, ooh, the delivery of that's so good and it gives me chills and it's fucking good. And Brina is definitely a very experienced actress, but absolutely adored the work that she gave with Chloe. It was fucking great. And yes, it is, of course, hysterical that it is Tatum and it is Brina. It really feels like one of those conversations of, you can tell a lot about people what they think when they think of Tatum and Brina Palencia characters. I thought Spice and Wolf. You thought Black Butler, Jeej.
Fight me, I guess.
You're all correct.
Just because you are correct doesn't mean you're right.
I thought it was the other way around. Just because you're right doesn't mean you're correct. I thought that was the saying.
Okay, yeah, Steph's correcting me on fate means. I think that's a good segue to move on.
Did I even know that?
Speaking of fucking up,
Oh boy.
the villains of this
You
show.
fucked up. You done fucked up.
Alright, so we have 3, baddies?
Which definition of baddie?
As in they're bad, not that you're down bad for them.
What?
In my case, I am
the
down
traditional.
I am down bad for one of them.
I was gonna say, I know at least in one of these cases you are both, Megan.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, Andrew.
He's not wrong, which is what's sad right now, I think.
Stop calling me out like this.
Sorry.
We have a teacher who is the man who took in Noe as a child, and he is also the grandfather to Dominique and Louis. By the end of the series, we find out that he is known as the Shapeless One, and he might not be as nice as he seems.
Dun dun dun.
Dun! Then we have Mania, who has the worst spelling and pronunciation. Like, this is some white woman naming their kid River with 3 R's and a Y.
I feel like it is Mania, but the way, I was looking up the name, is that it's spelt Naenia.
It's the weirdest fucking spelling ever.
Like a fucking nay-nay.
What? That's
Stop.
what we're comparing this to? A fucking
Watch her-
nay-nay?
I mean, at one point, Chloe did just got to watch her whip, then Nene into some rope.
God damn it.
But we find out she is also the queen of all vampires. But she is the one who is stealing people's true names and making them into Malnomen. And then there's August Ruthven, who is Luca's uncle and a very high member of the inner court. We find out that he has the power to make people do things, but they might not remember it. And he's honestly kind of one of the more morally gray characters. But for most of this series, he's kind of on the wrong side of dickitude.
Yeah.
The wrong side of dickitude is a choice phrase.
Oh, he also knows teacher somehow.
They
Yes.
have a relationship. It may or may not be friendly. Or potentially adversarial. We don't know yet.
Okay. Playing teacher is John Bergmeyer, playing Mania is Tia Ballard, and playing August is Jason Douglas. John Bergmeyer, you may know as Shigure Soma in Fruits Basket, which makes a lot of sense. Rei Sagami in Kodacha, and Seishin Leroy in Shiki. Tia Ballard, you'll know as characters such as Sanzaka Bianca in Aquarian Evol, Takao and D-Frag and Mizuho in Sunny Boy.
The best girl in that show.
And then, I have a funny story about Jason Douglas. Jason Douglas is Nevin in The Ancient Magus Bride, Baron Dusant in Radiant, and Joel Woods in Bem. To which, when I called August sexy, Andrew just literally sent me a gif of Beerus Fortnite dancing. And was like, this is the voice of the man that you call sexy. And my reaction was, okay. And then I was like, oh shit, he's Nevin in Magus Bride.
The old dragon friend who made us all cry.
I literally sent my friend Getter a gif from one of my most hated movies on the face of the earth, The Wizard of Oz. And it's just the Good Witch going, you have no power here. And I'm like, me to anytime anybody sends me Dragon Ball memes.
It's always a good time to find a gif of any established character that's in Fortnite doing fucking wild Fortnite dances.
Next thing we know, someone might be doing a Kamehameha.
God damn it.
Oh no, wait, it's
I'm
Kami and Mama.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Kamehameha.
Did you not see the video of the guy calling the Kamehameha the Kamehameha?
I think I did, and then it came out that he was pranking people because he knew it would make people mad.
Sure, he's pranking people. Yeah, anyway, what do we think of these people?
Alright, I'm gonna just start off with Teacher, because he is the most air of mystery, and I think it is just Fred Shigure Soma. I think it's a little less comical and disaster than Shigure, because that's an important thing about Shigure, is that man is a disaster, and he will absolutely eat shit for the long con. But Teacher's a lot more warm. He's a lot more kind, and he is inviting.
So what you're telling me is that Teacher would give your mom a Capri Sun after she fucked her and said that her kid is better.
Not the analogy I was going with, but I see the trajectory of where you're going with. Well played. If I was to actually say it, I feel Teacher has the aura of a vampire charming you into inviting him into your house. And I think it's that same level of charm and suaveness, but you can tell he's got ulterior motives and undertone, and it's creepy as hell. And once you see the mask finally reveal, and the fact that he may or may not have been spying on them with Myrrh, because they have the same eyes, I'm like, oh, that's fucking freaky. He's definitely the most mysterious of what we've seen so far, but I think absolutely John nails everything about the Shapeless One, aka Teacher.
Yeah, no, I agree. Teacher is very charming and fatherly, and, like, I'm not gonna lie that the betrayal where it's like, surprise, I'm kind of the bad guy! Like, it does work, is very unnerving. Also, I'd like to point out that his eyes are the same color as the cat.
Oh, yeah. That's why I met with Myrrh, which was a crazy reveal. Like,
so wait, is he not the cat? I thought he was the cat the whole time.
I think he's out. I think he's watching it through the cat.
It's not outright stated, but it's a very huge possibility.
Instead of a crystal ball, he is literally using the cat.
'Cause, like, heterochromia, though.
It's the same colors, that's why it's like...
Heterochromia, you know, the thing that makes every character extra sexy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got, like, non-binary heterochromia going, too. He's got blue and pink eyes.
Andrew, be careful, you might trigger somebody with that. The thing about brisket today.
I wasn't even going for that. I was just doing a bit. But alright.
I like how I didn't even say the character's name, but if I say the word brisket, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
It's just such a good, endearing phrase. Like, I thought it was more derogatory, but then it's like, oh no.
What are you talking about?
We're talking about Guilty Gear.
I don't even know what.
Okay, there is a character in Guilty Gear that people really like. Her name is Bridget, but somebody posted a thing about their friend who really loves Bridget, but keeps mistaking her name as Brisket. So now everybody just calls her Brisket.
everybody calls her Brisket.
Brisket's a good girl.
Sometimes I'm glad I'm really out of, like, your meme culture.
I agree.
Culture. Bridget did nothing wrong. Unlike Teacher, who did a lot of things wrong.
Teacher, for sure, risk it for the brisket.
God damn it.
And, abused his grandson.
Oh,
Poor Louis.
boy.
Yeah, he just kept him around because, like, you're gonna die and turn into a monster, and I think it's gonna be funny to see what happens.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then he just nonchalantly cut his head off.
Yep.
And like, when you see him, like, oh, dear Noe, are you right, dear kitten? And then you see he's the most nightmarish fucking soul eater thing, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm back from the store!
I brought home the milk.
Gigi, how do you feel about Teacher?
Yeah. He's alright. He has my top hat aesthetic. Are you talking about the dub voice? I honestly don't remember.
It's okay.
I'm sure it was good to the point where it wasn't David Wald. Where it could have been, but it wasn't. Maybe that's the other guy who I thought could have been David Wald. Who's the other guy?
What the fuck are you talking
You
about?
mean Lord Revan, the guy with the eye patch?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the guy who I wanted to bang?
Are you talking like about me or like about you?
I'm talking about me, the big redheaded dude with the eye patch, 100% in my strike zone. and then the series had to make him kind of evil, and I was like, damn it! Not again!
Like, no, the blonde guy with the top hat should have been David Wald, in my mind. But no, this guy did a good job. I don't remember who it is.
John Berkmeyer.
Why does that name sound familiar?
Gigi, did you ever watch Kodacha?
Yes. Is he the dad? Or the butler?
He's the manager! The guy who wears the sunglasses inside all the time.
Oh, yeah, Kodacha, the best dub that no one's ever watched.
It's out from Discotheque and I own it!
I need to buy it again. I have the old Funimation releases. Me and Amon are, like, gonna jump on that one day, and it's gonna be fantastic.
Let me join you, I love that show.
All right. Yeah, no, he was fine. Who else are we talking about?
Jason Douglas as, Rutherford, the big red guy.
Oh, yes. That was kind of beautiful. I was kind of upset that he was kind of a bad guy. I wanted him to be the daddy, and then he was the bad daddy.
Gigi, I've got a question. When have you ever been opposed to a bad daddy?
I was gonna say Gigi! Gigi!
Look, I have to pledge my love to somebody else in this series, so unfortunately, I cannot love the bad daddy at this juncture.
I mean, look, polygamy is a thing.
Oh my god.
Even when it comes to your fictional faves.
I mean, I'm not opposed to a throuple, but I'm opposed to a throuple. Well, wait,
Are you opposed to the throuple because they're all going to suck at you from all ends?
Oh, I'm in the throuple? I was putting somebody else in there. So wait, then there was a girl. There was Tia Ballard with, like, the worst auto-tune I've ever heard. Kanye West
No, I
was like,
fucking love the auto-tune.
Kanye West was, like, up in the booth like, hey, how can we fix this to sound like Heartbreaker, but weird? It was funny, but I was just like, ooh, that doesn't sound like her.
That's
But
the point.
That is...
I know it's the point, but it's just weird. It's weird to me when we're discussing a dub performance that I now have to unfilter it.
That's fair. I mean...
If nothing else, we can kind of go on from the angle of saying, you know what? What did you think of the actual, like, mixing of making somebody as iconic as Tia Ballard sound creepy, malnomined, and distorted to shit?
I thought that was great. Like, I'm down with that, and I'm down with her performance a lot. You got my brain on something else entirely now, and I don't like it. I'm trying to be a good little girl, angelic, if you will. And now my brain has gone to that place.
Gigi, I love you, but since when have you been angelic?
Look, I'm a good girl now. I don't know, like, what you may have heard.
Gigi,
Andrew.
we are here on a Dub Talk episode for a vampire action show with some of the most sensual, erotic vampire on vampire things I've ever seen, directed by David fucking Wald. Gigi, I want you at your fucking sluttiest. Come on, girl.
Somebody has to play the straight man. Usually it's Stephanie. I thought maybe I'd give it a try.
I was like, I'm legally not allowed to be straight.
Fair enough.
No, in my headcanon brain fanfiction, I now have a throuple between Riven and Noe and Vanitas in my head. And it don't leave. So that's my thoughts on the dub voice. Thank you for being a friend? Question mark?
I'm actually trying to figure out which voice we're discussing right now. Are you talking about Jason?
I was talking about Riven.
Okay, you jumped around a lot. I
She
was
jumped
not
around a
following.
little
I'm allowed. Look, this is what a circular conversational podcast is for me to jump around and talk about whatever I want until somebody interrupts me with a meme, and then you got to talk about the meme for 10 minutes, and then it goes back to talking about something else that's semi-relevant, and then finally we get to the relevant part again, and then we go to a different topic.
Gigi, I feel called out by this.
I didn't. I was trying to call out Andrew.
Oh!
I haven't canceled him yet today. I felt it was time.
Andrew is canceled for?
Nothing. I don't know. I'm trying to be nice, remember?
Oh yeah, you're a perfect angel.
Perfect angel. Perfect baby angel.
You know who's not a perfect baby angel? Brothervin. He's a big, angry devil man who did bad things to Noe.
Oh, Jesus.
And to Chloe, but
Well,
then...
yeah, fuck the Chloe scene. I was like, you dick weasel, I had trust in you.
That scene's great because you kind of see the trajectory of his character.
You kind of realize that he used to be as optimistic as Noe, and time changed that.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up too, yeah.
But, like, I think the thing that really works in the Chloe scene is how much regret he holds in his voice after what he's done. But you don't know if it's, oh my god, I fucked up because I betrayed the heart of my friend, or I fucked up because my ambitions are fucked without her. And then he abandons her. But I really like Jace's performance. If this gets a season 2, I can't wait for him to come back. And then my thoughts on Mania. I loved it. I love Tia's performance. It's creepy as fucking hell. And I think the thing that really works is that Tia does a really good what sounds like a child crying.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's really unnerving, and especially when Chloe's got her trapped in, like, her organ thing, and she's just getting choked out, and she's making all those pathetic screams and cries, and then she blooms into, like, her naked queendom. And it's like, oh, you really are the queen. Oh, we are so fucked. To which, God, the timing on recording this with world events about the queen was,
Whoops.
But no, I'm good if Andrew and Steffi want to finish up, or Gigi.
So, I'm gonna jump around. So, John Bergmeyer as a teacher is just Shigure again, but a French Shigure, and it fucking works. For those who have gotten to seen the new Fruits Basket, John Bergmeyer got to do had a lot more fun with this role because there's a lot more happening with Shigure in that version. Coming off of that and going into this, I don't want to call it a carbon copy. However, in this case, if that's the wording I'm going to use, it's good.
It's Shigure with a French accent.
Mon chaton. Tia is Mania. Dear sweet lord. I have never heard Tia go that creepy, I don't think. Cheeky is not one of those words creepy because the character in that show makes me want to punt her into the sun. But I digress. But I don't recall Tia ever getting the chance to be like these subtle, creepy kind of like characters. And the filtering and the mixing work on top of that, I think just brings it out a little bit more. It just adds a little bit of spice to it. And I think it's just enough. Though there are maybe a couple twinges early on where it seems a little bit difficult to understand her.
I think that could definitely get fixed in post for sure.
Right, but outside of that, I thought it was fantastic.
Huh? If I had to like describe what Nania is to me, she feels like a nightmare version of the witch from Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. Specifically...
You mean the Evil Queen?
Yes, but specifically when
she's the
she is
witch?
disguised
Gotcha.
as the witch, because she is trying to enthrall her victims. Like,
Got it.
when it's a weaker vampire, she could just take as she please. But when it's someone like Noe and Chloe, she has to be like evil salesman and sweet talk them into the idea of giving her their name.
Forgive me, Father, I have a terrible joke.
Uh-oh.
With vampires of lower status, she just takes them to the Black Parade. When it's vampires of higher status, they have to sing Helena.
Oh my god.
Oh.
When I was a young boy!
Oh my god. Oh god.
Fuck, I hate it. Jason Douglas as Riven, though. No, I don't have much to really add in terms of what everybody else has said at this point. It's just a very interesting character because from the early onset, you know something's up with this guy. You know something is there. And the shit he pulls with Noe towards the end of the first core is like, oh, this guy's an asshole. We're gonna be dealing with some shit with him. And then, like you guys were saying in his interactions with Chloe, we're finding out that he used to be so optimistic and rather naive, similar to Noe. And then just facing the reality of what is the war with the vampires and humans at that stage, it kind of leaves him, like, very broken and very desperate. I'm very curious to know, motivational-wise, later on, like, how that comes into play. Like, is he going to be the bad guy for the sake of good ambitions? Or is he going to be deluded by his crusade for good that he ends up on the wrong side of it? It kind of sets Riven up for this very interesting character development and complexity, and I'm very curious to know how that would play out. But Jason Douglas is fantastic in this.
I think just the thing that absolutely sells me on Jason in particular is, like, that strength and conviction he holds in his voice. He believes what he is doing is right. He believes what he is doing is just. So when he finds somebody who doesn't agree with him, like, you can tell, like, he genuinely is trying to butter up Noe to see eye to eye. You feel like that crushing disappointment when it's like, oh, you're naive. We're never going to see eye to eye. How disappointing.
Yes.
And then the mask falls, and then he fucking goes off, and you go full on swear to me. I think there's just that fucking, I know there's a lot of, like, allegories to vampires and eroticism that have been written in great detail throughout a lot of history, but I feel like specifically the strength and what makes Riven feel terrifying is that Riven, his strength and his conviction is forced unto you with or without your consent.
And you will do a favor for him, you just don't know when.
I will call upon you, and you will obey me. And, like, that's the whole thing with, like, where you see the young, bright-eyed Riven with ideals and optimism for peace between humankind and vampire kind, and then in his desperation trying to force his dear friend to do something against her will by trying to take her by force, and her turning him down, backing him off, and telling him, how fucking dare you. And it's a great scene, and absolutely floored by Jason's performance. Fucking creepy, definitely strong, kind, and fucking evil and compelling as shit. Great job, Jason. And also Tia Ballard is creepy as shit and does some killer baby noises.
Alright, so let's get rolling, like a head.
Oh, God.
Right off the child's neck!
Oh.
And
Why?
talk about next.
Why?
It was the only thing that came into my head!
Oh, God.
I'm just hoping you're not gonna lose your head like he did.
Up.
Hey!
God damn it.
Steph, are these puns going right through your heart like a snake?
No, they're shot through the heart, and you're to blame. You give love a bad name.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Stephanie, I think you've made your point quite clear.
Fuck you, man.
Time and place, sweetie. Time and place.
No.
Not while we're listening. Gigi might be into that, but not me.
I think Gigi did come out and say she is definitely down to watch in a closet, yes.
Wait, what?
No, only if it's fictional anime men.
Oh, shit.
Gigi,
Look,
I have
I'm
a
just
question.
sitting here reading a Google article about Britney Spears. These bitches on crack.
I have done nothing wrong in my life to you, thank
Britney
you.
Spears is like, I'm never gonna perform again. And I'm like, I'm thinking that might be the same.
Gigi, no, I love you. Please don't leave us.
Oh, shit.
I will fly over to Texas and sob at your door.
Oh, I would invite you in.
And bring you ice cream. And wine.
I love ice cream.
And wine.
And wine.
I'll bring ice cream, wine, and a copy of Diabolic Lovers.
Yay!
We can take a shot every time Yui gets, thrown into something.
We'll be dead.
It's the circle of life and it moves us all. Now get the fuck
off my balcony.
You know what popped in my head, because I almost didn't call her Yui. Snossage!
Snossage.
Snossage.
That's a deep cut for you early viewers.
Good old Snossage!
Did you know they're releasing the sequel to the Amnesia game on Switch, soon?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Amnesia 2, back to the cage with you.
You can see what happens after Toma throws you in the cage.
Anyways, for context, you can watch the Amnesia Dub Talk episode. We promise you won't forget it.
Don't worry, some of us wanted to, though.
Listen, it was a fun time.
I watched that show because you told me to. It was bad.
You know who isn't bad? Our next set of characters, but they are as deeply traumatized as a bunch of us after watching Amnesia.
Boy. Okay, yeah.
So first up, we have Jeanne, who is essentially a vampire mercenary who follows around Luca and is his knight. She has a very complicated relationship with Vanitas, in the sense that Vanitas got bit once and now he's got a tramp stamp for her.
Yo.
As a good little bottom bitch does.
Yeah.
Andrew's exact words were, "I got my dick sucked once and now her name's on me."
Yeah!
Wow.
When the fuck did you say that?
I forgot.
To me in DM.
When did you say that?
That was between me and Andrew in DMs while I was watching the show, because
I didn't hear about this one. Holy shit.
Andrew, are you okay?
I forgot about that one. That's funny.
Next up, we have the woman who wishes she could suck some Noe dick. Dominique Desaad. She is a member of the Royal Guard in the House of Desaad. She is a childhood friend of Noe, who unfortunately right now is getting the childhood friend in a romance trope thrown right in her face. However, she is a much deeper and more troubled character in the fact that you learn that she was presented as the little sister to our next character, Louis Desaad. Louis Desaad is presented as the older brother to Dominique Desaad, who lived with Teacher full-time as his grandson and was the person who Noe was closest with. However, he found out and realized he was being experimented on and became a malnomen and wanted to take his death into his own hands and begun to basically carve stakes for Noe to kill him with. However, he ends up killing a friend in their village, only to start freaking out themselves and dies by the hand of Teacher. You eventually find out that he and Dominique are in fact identical twins. However, in vampire lore, having twins is considered a bad omen. So their father basically had a vibe check that day and picked to keep Dominique, throwing Louis out.
He just flipped a coin, said heads or tails.
It wasn't even that. It was what their father whim was that day.
Yes.
He read his astrology that day.
By the way, Monica plays their older sister. Monica Rial plays their older sister, who's a fucking bitch. Who literally, the day after her twin brother has died and her best friend is in a basic panic coma, goes to Dominique and says, "Well, man, He was your twin! That's fucking hysterical that he's dead!
Yeah, and this is the first time Dominique is hearing about this, too.
It makes Dominique cut off all of her hair so she looks more like Louis, so that Noe won't feel bad, and yeah.
Yeah, that tends to make somebody feel worse.
Trauma, ladies and gentlemen.
And then there is Luca Oriflamme. Luca is actually the person who is supposed to be the queen's right hand, however, he is a young child. His older brother is also a Malnoman named Loki that lives locked up in the castle. Luca is a good boy who's a little too protective of Jeanne. But he's just a good little bean.
He has done nothing wrong in his entire life.
Yeah.
He is also basically the Jean Vanitas Dominique Noe quadology's child to me. Basically, yeah, he's great.
I think he very much wants to be like a man in like Jana's eyes, but it's very clear that like A, he is a child, and B, her tastes are way more complicated.
Jeanne's tastes are like a fucking Ouija board. Or a Rubik's Cube.
Oh my god.
It is a puzzle meant to be solved.
By Vanitas's dick.
Fuck.
I mean, that's what she wants. Playing Jeanne is Molly Circe, playing Dominique is Alexis Tipton, playing Louis is Syrian Strange, and playing Luca is Danny Chambers. Molly Circe, you'll actually know a lot more for her work over at Sentai. She is the other kind of really big Sentai named actor that came over to do this, but however, for other Funimation produced dubs, she was Tiramina in Kuma 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 Bear, Belial in Combatants Will Be Dispatched, and Ayaka Shindo, which is a Sentai in Beyond the Boundary, which is Sentai. Alexis Tipton you'll know as characters such as Lotta Otis in Aka 13, Rika Suzuki in The Devil is a Part-Timer, and Elnoir Saria Salin in Endro. Syrian Strange, you'll know his work as Dina in Hayatana Illusion, Defraught in Mars Red, and Rook Holmes in Infinite Dendrogram. Danny Chambers you'll know as Phoenicia Raffaelli in Astra Lost in Space, Faye in Decadence, and Komachi Mikuri in Warlords of Sigafrida. I've watched that show and it's actually very good.
So I just want to add one quick little addendum to that.
Yes.
So it's less accurate to say that Molly came over from Houston. She actually recently moved to Dallas.
Okay, but she's more known for her Houston work.
A lot of her body of work is at Sentai, has only recently been popping up in the Dallas sphere. That is true, yes.
Yeah, so how do we feel about this stuff? I definitely want to say out of all of these, I think Molly impressed me the most because I think I am more familiar with a lot of her Sentai stuff. And it wasn't always the strongest work. I think I was genuinely very harsh on her in Monster Musume, and I think that was also just, I partially think that show is fucking garbage, and she played one of the worst characters. So, getting to hear her play Jeanne was such a real breath of fresh air, because I think she really encapsulated a lot of what makes that character so likable. In that, Jeanne is a complicated person. She is essentially has been told her life she is a living doll that is to do the work that they tell her or they will kill her. And she's known as, what was it, the Blood Red Witch?
She is the Hellfire
Witch.
The Hellfire Witch. And she lives up to it. But the best parts of her characters are the moments that let her intimately shine and let her be really funny. Like, where she goes on a fake date with Vanitas.
That's the best episode, fight me.
As an idea of, he said he doesn't love women who love him back, so if I fake that I love him back, he will be in the palm of my hands and he will stop fucking messing with me.
I am a genius.
And that backfires hard.
And it backfires hard because she falls more in love with him and realizes what type of person he is. But for as funny and great as she is in that episode, her standout scenes to me are when she and Vanitas are getting warm in the snow and it's that intimate biting scene between them, and it's like genuinely one of the most sensual scenes in the show.
I love it.
And they're like moaning and sucking. And then the other one, and it's a comedy one, is when her, Dominique, and Luca are having, like, lunch together, and she's like, you know, I think I am in love with Vanitas. He's been so decent to me recently. And it is, like, the scene of a woman accepting her fates and bad men. And the thing that kills me is her going, you know, the next time I see him, rar. I don't know if I can hold back the desire to consummate with him. You know, they always say it's a bad strategy to, you know, go for that so early. And Dominique is like, no, it's not the strategy thing. Why Vanitas? Why?
You're forgetting one of my personal favorite parts where it's like, oh, that actually is a valid strategy. That's how Mother made a pass at Father.
Yes.
She told you that? The fact that her mom was the one wearing the pants in that one just explains so much.
And Dominique and them are just like, what the fuck? And Alexis, I gotta compliment Alexis's delivery in response to that, which is, oh look, you're being so outlandish, Luca's even gone to a different headspace.
So pretty.
Yeah. Johnny's taste in Vanitas is best summed up from a quote from the League of Legends lore.
Oh god.
I do not have terrible taste in men. I have good taste in terrible men, and there is absolutely a difference.
Sounds like my life.
That is an actual factual quote from a canon League of Legends lore story about two gay men.
Nice.
I'm gonna say that I agree with what Megan says, because I'm also more used to Molly Cersei's work over at Sentai, and for a good amount of time it's not that solid, so I wasn't sure about it. But it could just be direction or maybe, like, miscast in roles, because she is just phenomenal here. It gives me full confidence that, like, when given a really good role and the right direction, like, she can do, like, gangbusters, really.
I think this is a very complicated character, and it's complicated and interesting in the way that this is absolutely Molly playing a character that's very different. And also very different from, like, the Seiyu, which is a much higher-pitched voice. I think Molly is a very unique and inspired choice in particular. You get to see her as the cool action lady, being very strong, commanding knight, almost like she's Saber from Fate. She's got a very Saber energy to her when she's in the heat of battle. But then you also see, like, that sensitivity, that vulnerability, and also, like, the trauma of being closed off and told to stop being a child, stop being a girl. You are a weapon for vampire kind. We will use you as you see fit. You don't matter. Your feelings don't matter. You are a tool to be used and tossed aside. Before Vanitas, before Luca, before all the friends in her life, tell her, no, you do matter. You do get to choose how you live your life. You are allowed to be who you are. And it's absolutely, like, she has one of the best arcs in the show, and I love seeing how much Jana grows, and I absolutely think Molly's performance really, really reflects that. She's got a lot of different facets of Jean to play, but of course, being the tsundere idiot who doesn't realize she's falling down bad for a trashy guy is especially really, really fucking funny. She's got some killer deliveries during those funny episodes. And, God, you mentioned it before, the fact, I think it was just supposed to be, like, a tiger sound, but somebody decided, no. Somebody, it's probably David. Somebody's like, no, it's gonna be so much funnier if you do the grr, rar. And it was! It's so fucking funny! It's such a good choice. And
You love to see it.
And absolutely, I think for sure, Molly is absolutely somebody who has had the years of experience. A lot of what makes actors is the director, especially when it comes to anime dubbing. And in the hands of somebody I would argue is probably one of the best in the ADR anime dubbing business, period, he managed to work with Molly and make a goddamn good performance. Fucking Molly is inspired and honestly one of the biggest surprises out of this entire cast.
Gigi?
So I actually got to meet her last month. And I was really only familiar with her in Amagi Brilliant Park.
I still haven't watched that.
Oh, Chris made me watch it because I like amusement parks and carnivals, and
I watched the Japanese, I just haven't seen the dub.
it's funnier than I thought it was gonna be. The dub's okay, but I really hadn't heard her in anything else, and so I found it like kind of endearing. And this was also before I watched Vanitas, that she just does her Jana voice all the time. All the time. Like, she was doing a panel and was like trying to get the crowd under control or be like very dramatic with something, and she like flipped into the Jeune voice like immediately. And I was like, oh, that's funny. Like, she's just doing stuff off the cuff. And then I watched Vanitas and I was like, oh, that's the Jeune voice.
That's just her voice.
Question, by the Jean voice, do you mean like the strong, commanding, like drill sergeant Jana tone?
No, like the almost British accent, but not quite a British accent tone.
Okay.
Which I'll talk more about British accents shortly. But
You mean French?
no,
No.
British.
Oh.
There's
We'll get
a slight British lilt when Jeanne is talking. Like, there's the parts with the French accent, which are different from this part that I'm referring to. But I just thought that was funny. And then when I heard it in the dub, I was like, oh, there's that voice. When I was talking to her normally, I couldn't really hear like how that voice would sound. And then she did it not in the context. And then it was in the context. And I was like, oh, okay, there it is. And it works really well. She also mentioned that Jenna was a character. God, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to misquote her, but she called out Jenna as either one of the most interesting or one of her favorite or one of her most fun roles to play. And I was like, okay, well, I really have to pay attention now when I watch this show for the podcast. So she did a really great job. I was surprised because coming from Sentai, we all know that we've said things about some people coming from Houston and they're not the greatest performances a lot of the time. So I didn't really know what to expect, but this is really good. And her best scenes were about or with Vanitas. Like, I'll agree with everybody else in this camp because, you know, I wasn't really shipping the two of them together, but I get it. Like, I get why people could like put them together and why the authors probably will in the end, maybe. But I see it. I see the chemistry there, and I definitely heard the chemistry in her vocal performance along with the vocal performance from Vanitas. So that was nice to hear. What is that kid's name? Louis? Is it Louis?
Luca.
No,
Wait,
not
which
Luca.
kid?
Which one?
Louis?
Domi's sister. Domi's brother.
Domi's brothers. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the other British accent was. But isn't that Siren's normal accent?
Yes.
Kieran is British.
Kieran. I thought so. I was very confused by that choice. Because were they French? Marquis de Sade is French.
And that's just what their voice sounds like. That wasn't an acting choice.
Because I was confused because I was like, when did Louis turn British? I was like, what's happening? But no, that performance was amazing. Like, especially in the earlier episodes, not when he comes back in like Domi's brain, but like in the earlier episodes. Oh my God.
I love Kieran.
Kieran's Gigi, Mars Red is an absolute, like, Mars Red kind of falls apart in the back half, but it's really ambitious. You should hear them in Mars Red because they get to do a lot of theater.
Kieran is a tour de force in Mars Red, and it's just, like, amazing.
It's also a vampire show.
I started watching it and I got bored, so maybe I'll have to pick it up again.
Okay.
I would vouch because like there's a reason we pushed for Defraught for Viewer's Choice last year.
Oh no, yeah.
He was absolutely stellar
Kieran
in that.
was stellar.
I think this group of voices is a really strong one all put together. Like, Dominique, loved. That's like my newest cosplay. I already told Chris. I said, I'm going to dress up like Dominique. He's like, you're going to dress up like Dominique because she dresses like Utena. And I was like, what's your point?
Oh my god.
I said, I want a purple wig. Don't take this away from me. Please, I'm going to dress you up like Noe and put you in a top hat. Don't take this away from me.
You know what's really funny? I want to cosplay as Shawnee.
Oh my god, we should do it.
I'm not making the fucking arm, though. I'm
No,
not doing
don't
that
make the
shit.
arm.
Shawnee's outfit's already complicated enough.
I like girls with swords and like military uniforms. Like, that's my thing. And big boots. I don't know if Dominique has big boots or not. I can't really remember.
She's got some fine boots.
Okay, that's probably why. Please step on me. I mean, sure, Marquis de Sade is her daddy. Who would have thought? I was like, wow, the Marquis de Sade, that's going to be interesting. And then she's like the most tame person of the bunch, and I was kind of sad about it.
I heard someone describe that the polycule that is Vanitas, Noe, Jana, and Dominique. Dominique is the only top in that group of bottom bitches.
You don't think Jana would top?
Jana's got switch energy.
Jana's a switch.
Yeah.
Jana's a switch. The boys are bottoms.
Well, yeah, duh.
Noe is way too sweet to top, and Vanitas is the brattiest bottom on the
The
planet.
brattiest bottom in the
Well,
world.
you know what? I will put a plug in Vanitas. Haha. Not Vanitas. I meant Noe. I'll put a plug in Noe for
Hold
now.
that thought. Vanitas is totally getting fucking pegged. Let's be real
Okay,
here.
well, you put the peg in him. I'll put the plug in Noe.
I mean, that's for
before
Jana.
when we talk to Noe.
Oh,
To
God.
Noe about Noe. Anyways, I'm getting off track. My angelic layer is slowly dissipating. But no, Dominique, especially at the end, her performance, flawless. And then, I don't know, man. I like her relationship with Noe, but it's complicated. I don't know. Like, I don't feel that they belong together, but again, the narrative is kind of pushing for them to be together. But the vocal performances make me push them together more. Does that make sense?
Yes.
The performances sold the emotional, romantic tension.
Yes, they definitely did. I don't think I could have watched this in Japanese and gotten the same chemistry.
I think I could absolutely hear, like, not only that desire to protect, that desire of, like, longing and wanting to be wanted by Noe. In,
Yes.
like, a lot of, like, Alexis's more dramatic moments, too.
And I have felt that emotion. So, like, I understand where Dominique is coming from at a spiritual level. It's rough. But, yeah, no, I really liked this whole group. Luca also, very funny, good comedic timing there. Sad that they don't get to do a lot, like, other than in the beginning and somewhat in the middle. But it makes more sense to focus on the other arcs that are happening at the time. And anyway, we're all going to cosplay from Vanitas now, so let's find someone who can sew.
Oh man, that means I get to dress Patrick as Vanitas, and Steph and Andrew can be Chloe and Jean-Jacques.
Oh, that's perfect.
Patrick is too good a boy.
I was going to make Chris be Vanitas, but he can't, like, that doesn't make the square pan out.
Okay, here we go then. Steph, you get to cosplay as Jana now.
Okay.
Andrew definitely has the bottom bitch energy to be Vanitas.
You know what? I know you're insulting me, but I think I agree with that more than I do with Patrick as Vanitas.
Which means Patrick gets to be my Jean-Jacques.
That makes more
Yay.
sense.
I was gonna say either Jean-Jacques or Noe's.
Chris is Noe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that means... You know what? I'm getting back on track. I'm not letting my mind go to that place.
Anyway.
No.
It's been there.
I'm going to talk about Luca because I really want to spend a lot of time on my personal opinions on Dominique and Louis. I love Danny Chambers. She does need a little more work on her little boy voice. Still, it sounded very feminine, but I think it works because Luca is that young, so it didn't bother me, but Danny had, like, some of the best comedic timing in the show. Like, the little ahs whenever Vanitas is making inappropriate remarks about Jana, or when he's like, you know, Jana, I'm going to kiss you, and Luke is like, not in my house, motherfucker. I just want art of, like, Vanitas asleep with, like, Luca with a knife behind him, like, don't fucking say shit. I think the other thing, too, that Danny does really well is gets the pathos out of Luca. Especially because Luca does see some shit. Like, a bunch of people die at his house party. And, his brother's locked up because he's a malnomen. But I think one of the best scenes with them is when Vanitas uses Luca to find out that his thing about the queen is correct. Because Luca was the only person who didn't react with offense. And he was just kind of like, baby boy, like, what's wrong, everybody? I made a fucky wucky.
Luca's a very fun character, and I think he's a very charming addition to the series. Especially, like, before she has the relationship with Vanitas and Dominique, Jana's, like, moral grounding is Luca. Because you see, even early on, Luca is telling her, you are not a weapon, you are not a killer, you are my knight, and you are Jana. Which is just, like, a nice, sweet little moment of, like, you could tell Luca truly does care for Jean, and Danny's, like, very interesting, like, endearing boy voice is pretty unique, but it is very believable and fun and cute, and I love when she gets fucking pissed. Her voice she uses for Luca is what I could describe as, alley cat getting really mad that another cat is trying to pounce.
Aww.
That actually sounds adorable.
It's adorable, but Luca has that very angy kitty energy to him when he is getting really pissed and flustered at Jana talking about Vanitas, or him seeing the tramp stamp, the neck thing.
Branded.
Just absolutely great freak-out noises on Luca's part, and just when he full-on disassociates from reality, and just the fucking babby noises, where Danny's just going, the sky is so pretty, pretty rainbows, and it's like, oh no, you broke Luca! Just fucking kills me. Danny's so good as Luca.
Yeah, Luca is sweet and noble and good at one point, and then anything relating to Jana, where Luca's just like, you're my knight! Like, Luca does not like Vanitas at all. Luca's chill with Noe.
Noe's a good boy, and Vanitas is a hoe.
He is not. You guys are...
Vanitas isn't a hoe. He's a little bitch.
You know what?
Yeah, that's more
Fair.
accurate.
He's
I'm about to say he can act like a hoe sometimes. That's what I was saying.
He's a little bitch to Luca.
But he's not.
He may or may not be a homewrecker. But
joke's on Vanitas, though. He's falling in love with Jana, so joke's on him. No, I really like Danny as Luca. It's this fun balance of, like, noble energy, but also just gremlin. Like, Alley Cat is the best description, I think, for this character, where it's just like, hiss.
he's actually baby, but when he doesn't like somebody, he hisses and splash. But if you get to know him, he's a baby Ash.
Oh my god. Have you ever seen this meme? Is a cinnamon roll, could kill you. Could kill you, but is a cinnamon roll. No, looks like a cinnamon roll, could kill you. Could kill you, looks like could kill you, is a cinnamon roll. Looks like a cinnamon roll, is a cinnamon roll. Looks like a kill you, would kill you.
No.
Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Luca is one of those where it's like, looks like a cinnamon roll, could kill you.
It's less that he could kill. He commands the energy that he would kill, but the most he'll do is bite your ankles and then, like, I don't know, knock over your cereal.
Speaking of things that will kill you, Dominique and Louis. I really want to pick up on Gigi's thing about Louis, about how good he is. Louis is such a broken character when we first meet him.
Yes.
He's already gone the first few times that we see him. And for a character who is not around in the story at the time that it's taking place, he is by far one of the most important characters. Because his death is such a core motivation to two of our main characters that it affects them so much to this day. And Siren is just on fire playing them. There are points where you see that Louis' life was happy,
Like when Noe first is brought home to them and they're all in the bed together. But then somehow Louis found out. And you slowly see, even in Siren's performance, how his voice just becomes colder and more distant. To a baby Noe who is so warm and welcoming. You have those little moments where you can see the mask slip. Like when they talk about how their friend's going to be killed. And Noe and Dominique running out there is what gets him killed. And Siren's performance is just so haunting. Especially in those moments where he's like carving their own stakes to take his life. And he just messes up and goes... And just the way he's like, I have to start a new one. This is like a suicidal child.
I think the most tragic thing to me about Louis is at some point he stops living his life and starts planning his death.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In those last few months he's not really alive.
But he's going through the motions of life.
He is existing, and that's really it. And that's just fucking sad.
And yet there's like almost a siren quality about Siren's voice in regards to how he speaks to Noe, about Noe drinking his blood. Because at one point I think he says, don't you want to try it, Noe? But when Noe's a little kid and it's revealed that he can see his memories, Noe sees into his thoughts, but because he didn't know how to control the power, he couldn't understand what was going on. And then on the flip side, you have Alexis Tipton, who is so full of life through a lot of her performance. But you come to realize that that vibrance in her performance is so much of a fake mask. To the point that I think one of the more poignant moments is when Jean is becoming alive again. She is at her lowest and feeling death, and she goes, you know I really hate you. But in her mind, she doesn't hate her. She hates herself for her inability to act and protect the people that she loves. And young Dominique's performance, after she kind of gets laughed at by her own older sister, about how her best friend is sick and she doesn't know how to wake him up, and she's starting to have that precocious childhood crush, which has led into a sense of love that she might feel for Noe that might genuinely not be romantic, but guilt. Like, she genuinely might love him as like a sense of, oh god, I fucked up his life and took the one thing he loved away from him. If I keep loving him more and more, maybe he'll forget. Because Noe is kind of oblivious to Dominique's emotional suffering, as he is blind to what Louis was going through. That first time, after he wakes up, after Dominique has cut her hair to look like Louis, in a sense to replace him, I really want to compliment Alexis for matching Siren's energy of being a person who stopped living and planning their own death. She was going to legitimately kill Dominique so that Louis could live again in her body. But all that is toxic, and that's why I also really want to compliment where Alexis has to play both her older and younger self, and Siren comes in as her ghost. As like you're not doing this because you are protecting him. It's essentially her doing it as like a way to protect herself from the guilt that she feels over everything. Because in the end, she could have been the one there. The only reason she's alive is not because her father or her older family genuinely ever cared about her. It was the whim of the day. And that's gotta fuck with you. I'm done.
So, both Kieran and Alexis are, I think, in their own way, two different sides to the same coin. Hence the whole twin aspect, obviously. And it's very interesting seeing the developments, not just with Louis, but especially with Domi. both Kieran and Alexis, I think, do a phenomenal job. For Kieran, my brain defaults to it being defraught in Mars Red, but that's also probably a good thing in this situation, because Kieran has dramatic chops for days. They have it for days, and it's just phenomenal, and especially if it's a tragic character like Louis is in this situation. It's a very well thought out, very well-rounded performance for a character that leaves a very lasting impact on the two people who are the most important to them. In Domi's case and Alexis's case, while some of the dramatic parts towards the back half of the show are phenomenally done, I'm also gonna say that the moments where we're first introduced to Dominique
Oh, it's
are
hilarious.
a delight.
I love that she has a flower robot. It's just...
Oh my god, it's the greatest.
Yes.
She's wonderful.
I think the best way to sum up Dominique's character, it is actually her introduction in, like, what was it, episode 2, 3, around that point, where she comes in and she's all, like, very showman, like, flowery and just like, yes.
She's trying to be larger than life.
Yes, look, he is my fiancé! And then Noe's like, no, she's not. And then she just smacks him on the back and he's like, come on now! Like, in this kind of, like, staccato tone to it, too. At first glance, it's a mix of, like, her humor and playfulness, but at the same time, later on knowing what you know, it takes on kind of, like, this double meaning of her, like, outward persona being this mask that she's been wearing for several years. So it's a very interesting take on a character like this, and God, Alexis, I think, sells it. She's just fantastic in it, so I loved all 4 of these characters, to be honest with you.
I'm not sure how much more I can add to Louis, but I think Kieran is absolutely a tour de force as a lot of the tragedy that is Louis de Sade, and absolutely sells the chemistry with Dominique, with Noe, and their relationship, as fun and brief as it is with the 3 of them together. I love, of course, seeing him interact with older Dominique at the end when she's figuring her stuff out, and I think Kieran is absolutely a phenomenal actor. So I did think of something I did want to add to discussion of Dominique, specifically Alexis Tipton's performance, as well as, I guess, adding this to Molly. They do some damn good moans.
Oh, Jesus.
We're gonna talk about damn good moans in a minute.
I was thinking about this earlier, and I was trying to figure out what is it specifically that David Wald is good at. Like, David Wald is good at many things, but I feel like there's a specific thing that David Wald is better at than probably anybody else. Intimacy. And conveying how intimacy sounds. I'm thinking about this because Jana and Dominique both suck blood. Or get their blood sucked. And the thing that needs to be convincing is that hunger for blood and what it means. I feel like with Dominique and with Noe, it's almost like a more comfortable intimacy that's familiar but tender, and I think it absolutely comes across in the way Alexis portrays some of those moments. And I feel like with Molly, it is much more
Feral.
This is a Catholic girl who has not known shit her entire life, realizing she is turned on, and she is fucking chowing down.
Yeehaw!
That's before the Catholic guilt kicks in, yeah.
It's gonna kick in after the fact, but she's going to fucking suck up first.
She's the girl who lost her virginity on prom night at the Catholic school. Oh no! I have a better one.
That
She's the girl who went to Night of Joy at Disney and got some while they were on the they got some while they were on Pirates of the Caribbean.
Baby's first hand job. Yo ho, a pirate's life for me.
Please don't tell me that's an actual thing that happened.
It's Disney. Everybody's giving each other hand jobs at the park, sweetie. Come on.
Like, Night of Joy is like for church-going teenagers.
So, to the point I was making, I wanted to at least compliment the way Dominique and Alexis shows off that intimacy that Dominique has with Noe, and it's like this level of like playful familiarity. Like, I love how she's kind of being cute and bratty when she's jealous of him getting hungry for Vanitas's blood.
Yeah.
And then she's kind of like, you have me, though. And then she's being like, oh, Noah, you jerk. And then she, of course, goes for a suck. And it's, like, familiar but intimate and longing. And then he goes for it. I described a sensation when we were doing Darling... not Darling. Oh, my God, I almost called it.
Darling?
Oh.
Did you almost call it Darling in the Franxx?
My darling in the Franxx.
Gross.
Oh.
Andrew is in pain without.
Ew.
Andrew is in Spain without the S.
Oh, God. No. Ugh.
Are we talking about My Dress Up Darling?
Thank you, sweetie.
You're
I'm trying to
welcome.
talk about a good show that actually does make me feel good and doesn't make me feel... Darling in the Franxx is the anime equivalent of Catholic guilt. Let's be fucking frank.
I would comment, except I love myself too much and have too much self-respect to watch Darling in the Franxx.
Good.
Don't worry about it, it's fine.
Don't worry, you're not missing much.
I mentioned this a little bit in My Dress Up Darling. I feel like there are a couple of shows I've watched recently that have what I call like the lip-biting sensation, which is in regards to if the show can sell me on intimacy and sensuality in a compelling way, that I am legitimately going, oh hey, that's pretty hot, or that's pretty intimate, or ho ho ho, they... I stopped going from, ha ha ha, they're doing it, or, oh, they fucking, in like a comedic sense. And I am leaning forward like, oh,
Yep.
damn. And this dub conveys those very well, and this show makes me bite my lip, and it's fucking great.
It's spicy.
It's spicy in the best way. And all the shows I point to as examples, My Dress Up Darling, Beastars, and Vanitas, are in fact all written by women.
We know how to do porn better than men. Let's
I was
be
about to
real.
say, clearly women know how to write intimacy better.
God, I went in on that in the Dress Up Darling episode. God, men are so fucking bad at porn. Yeah, anyways. Alexis Tipton. Absolutely tour de force of a performance. Conveys all of Dominique's struggles, her anxieties, her eccentualities, her sensualities, and her badassness. They go 24 episodes without showing us what Dominique can do in battle, and then she does the fucking cool ice spear thing, a bunch of crosses zombies, and it's fucking awesome. It was so worth it.
It was fucking killer.
But yes, Alexis Tipton is fucking fantastic.
Yeah, no. So thank you guys for your awesome thoughts.
Can we talk about the two bottom bitches now?
Let's talk about our main two characters here. Our two de facto leads. They are Noe Archiviste. Haha, get it, 'cause his name sounds like archivist, because he can look through memories.
Oh, I just got that.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, are you kidding?
Also B, this entire story is just him writing about Vanitas.
Yeah, I knew that.
He's making an archive.
Wow,
But yeah, that's why he's called Archivist, because he looks through people's memories.
I cannot believe I didn't pick up on that until now. Fuck.
Noe is a good-natured boy who goes to Paris on the request of his teacher to find the Book of Vanitas. He's a good guy, and essentially he is the main character of the show. The entire show is essentially him flashing back to how he came to meet Vanitas, and how Vanitas will eventually die by his hand. Vanitas is a eccentric doctor of vampires with his magic book that can alter vampires. We come to learn that he was once a test subject of Dr. Moreau and became inhuman because he was infused with the blood of the vampire of the Blue Moon, and also caused Luna's death. Mostly being that Luna wanted to die as themselves before getting their name taken. Vanitas doesn't reveal his true ambitions until the end, which is to find the person that changed Luna's names and to get revenge. If Noe is the good cat of the week, gave me lots of cuddles, Vanitas is the bad cat of the week, bit my arse.
Yep.
Damn it.
That's Ugh, that's just canon.
Gigi, I'll send you that picture so you understand.
Okay.
But playing these two wonderful gentlemen, Noe Archivist is played by Stephen Fu, and Vanitas is played by Zeno Robinson. Stephen Fu, you'll notice characters such as Takahiro Mizuwa in bottom-tier character Tomazaki-kun, Saito in Hakata Tokotsu Ramens, and Theo Himezuka in Midnight Occult Civil Servants. Zeno Robinson, I think a lot of us here are familiar with, but if you're not, he's Tomiki Takazawa in The Gymnastic Samurai, Reiji Shiba in Sakura Wars the Animation, and Hayato Matsura in Josie the Tiger and the Fish. So do we want to start with Vanitas or Noe?
I would say to start with Noe.
Yeah. I was actually really surprised it was Stephen Fu.
I was also pleasantly surprised.
Stephen Fu is interesting in that I think I've only recently gotten an understanding of what Stephen Fu's, range is till recently. I've known him for a couple of things. I think the one I was most familiar with, probably his Angie Auntie, which Auntie is the bit my ass cat, compared to Noe's cuddled me nicely.
Auntie probably hasn't showered in months.
That's also just canon. He goes through garbage.
Oh my god, y'all, I'm looking through Stephen Fu's BTVA and my heart is just
Gigi, he's done a lot of what you're into.
I did not know he was best boy in JoJo.
Oh, Weather Report?
Yeah.
Weather Report does it for you?
Oh, he's my favorite, yeah.
Even more than Joseph?
Oh, no. Jonathan is my number one forever and always. Jonathan plus me, OTP.
Oh, look, I'm not going to judge you because you didn't pick Anastasia, and I really thought you would have picked Anastasia, so I'm proud of you.
That's my number 3.
God damn it.
You know what? Somehow still not even the silver medal. My respect for you has grown. I'm impressed. Thank you.
Gigi's like, I am forever married to Jonathan.
I am. Nobody else loves him. It's me and Jonathan on our lonely island full of love.
But these are my shide hoes, Weather Report, and Anastasia.
Don't forget the green guy with the cherry.
Oh, Kakui?
Yes. We won't talk about Kakyoin because I'm going to get upset.
So, I love this boy.
Good boy.
I love this good... I'm just so endeared to that hopeful optimism and wanting to see the best in people and trying. He's effectively what Riven was before he was betrayed and lost his students. He is that bright-eyed optimist that wants to find peace between humans and vampires, and everything about Noe is just a good golden retriever puppy dog boy who I love dearly and would protect with all my heart. He's also really fucking... Stephen Fu's deliveries with him can be really fucking funny, and I love how his relationship with Vanitas is basically, oh, I think I don't like you.
Yeah.
You're a douche.
It's like, Vanitas, as I've told you before countless times, I don't like you.
But he loves him.
If Vanitas is a master of deception, Noe cannot tell a lie to save his life.
Oh, yeah.
Extremely. I'm just going on into comedy right now because there's a lot to focus on, but I just think he's really fucking funny.
You have not seen him in the City Hunter movie, have you?
I have not seen him as Ryo Saiba in the City Hunter movie.
Oh my god. If you want to talk about funny and comedic timing, it's Stephen Fu in fucking Ryo Saiba. He does such a good job.
He's got some really funny moments throughout. His interactions with Vanitas is always just a great back and forth. But if you had to ask me what I think was the funniest moment Noe does in the show, it's when he decides, no, we're not gonna take hostages. We're not gonna take a member of the church hostage.
Oh, yeah.
I got a better idea.
Come here, bitch.
And then, as it turns out, Noe plays the part of the evil villain who has taken poor defenseless Vanitas hostage and is laughing maniacally while he's screaming for his fucking life. Absolutely fucking incredible. It was a really funny moment. I think Steven sells that, like, maniacal good boy energy. And also really comes across his more dramatic chops really, really well.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. And especially because there are moments where, Noe can be a little unhinged. And considering Andrew and I have recently been playing the sequel to I, the Somnium Files.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Oh boy.
It's very wild coming back to this one after playing a bit of that and seeing how Ryuki's stuff going on. But there's a lot of layers to Noe in particular, and I think Steven's absolutely incredible as Noe.
Y'all, it's time for everybody to sit down, pop a squat, get the tea out. It's time for tea time with Gigi.
Is this good tea or bad tea?
This is the good tea. I've spoken about Stephen Fu at length on numerous occasions. It's not the point where I'm like, who's that guy? I don't know who that guy. No, I know who Stephen Fu is. I think the first time I have mentioned his name was in a little show called Kakurio, Bed and Breakfast for Spirits.
Yes!
Where I was like, who that? And I was like, he all right. Then I watched the City Hunter movie and I was like, oh my god, Stephen Fu, who are you? Why are you so amazing? And fucking Ryo Saiba, because it's so funny. It's so funny. He's been in Ensemble Stars. He's been in This Boy Suffers from Crystallization, which I still want to do a dub talk on at some point in time, but who knows when that will be. He's been in Sarazanmai. He's the muscly dude in the Dumbbell Show, which is more proof of his comedic timing.
Oh yeah, he is the muscle guy. Oh shit.
Onegai muscle.
Onegai muscle. Do. But I will tell you that even though he is the best in the universe at Ryo Saiba in the City Hunter movie, I was never as thirsty for Stephen Fu as I was with him being Noe.
Cool.
Really?
For all intents and purposes, Vanitas should be the person that I would simp for. But no, friends. It was Noe.
Let me guess. Is it the scene where Domi's like, hey Noe, it's been a long time. You thirsty? And he's like, yes.
I'll say that would be it.
That's what I call the very illegal Stephen Fu.
There are a few choice moments with him talking out of Noe's mouth. And I'm like, excuse me, sir. I need a handkerchief to wipe the drool off my face. Because that's sexy. Stephen Fu.
It is really sexy. I'm not gonna lie.
You graduated. And I should be simping for Vanitas. Vanitas is my type. Noe is not my type at all. And because of him, because of his performance, I'm like, well, Noe's my main dude now. Like, I can't put Vanitas at the top of the totem pole anymore. It's Noe all day.
Sometimes we have to remember that cinnamon is a spice.
It is a spice.
This is true.
Okay, but, like, Steven, my dude, my guy, my brother in Christ.
Please, you just brought us some nights of joy. Thank you.
Okay, so, I live in the South, unfortunately.
I am so sorry.
But we in the South have a phrase about Stephen Fu moaning as Noe as he sucks at Dominique's blood, and Vanitas is fucking listening. And that phrase is, had me sweating like a whore in church.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Jesus.
What is the fucking line from Abbott Elementary?
I don't know.
I haven't seen Abbott Elementary, so I don't
I'm
know.
Baby Jesus and the grown one too!
What?
Sweet baby Jesus and the grown one too.
Oh my god.
That's a good show. I've been watching a little bit of it.
I need to watch that more, but I've just seen the clip where the Emmy-winning actress for that literally yells that as she walks into a room, and that's all I can think of.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
You just watch that scene, and you're just like, oh my god, why can't I be Dominique right now? Not to Steven, but about Noe. And then you're just also, like, the good boyness, and also, like, the expressed sorrow and sadness he has at points, where he realizes things about Vanitas. But god, that scene where him and Vanitas are laughing after, Dr. Moreau's office, really good. But I want to talk about one of my favorite Stephen Fu moments in the whole show. In episode 12, when they're in the room after the date, Ian comes in to tell them about the Beast of Javadon, where Noe is, like, sitting there by himself.
Yes.
And the other two are talking. And he's like, oh my god, I kind of want his blood.
Yes!
But he's not saying it in his mind.
Mind you, Vanitas is bleeding still by this point.
Yeah, Vanitas is bleeding, and he's just going on. I shouldn't do this, but oh my god, I really want to taste it. It smells so good. And Steven's just, like, mumbling, and just going on a stream of consciousness. You're just like, sweetheart, you're in public.
It's so wrong. I don't want to be right. It's so... Oh, God.
That's the moment where Bella was pushed out the window and Jacob and Edward started making out.
Oh, why couldn't that happen in this show? I was waiting the whole time.
Dominique and Jeanne can just start
That
making
can
out.
work too. God.
That's why they're a polycule.
So much sexual tension.
It's just dripping everywhere.
Lord, no, like, becoming rather familiar with Stephen Fu's range as an actor, this one is a huge pleasant surprise. Because, Lord almighty, Noe's character has a lot of naivete to it, but it also has a childlike curiosity. Those moments are stupid and adorable as fuck. Like, him exploring Paris, it's always just like, oh, what's that? Like, it's the sweetest little, like, purest little
I'm
thing.
about to make a callback.
Uh-oh.
I'm about to make a callback that Gigi made about another actor.
Uh-oh.
And she knows what it is, but the way that you're like, ooh, you know what my thought was? The claw.
Oh my god. Fuck.
That is not about Stephen Fu. That was about Howard Wang, and he talked to me about that in person.
Wait, what?
Oh god.
Vanitas, I have been chosen!
Wait, what?
So when I met Howard Wang in August, I got him to sign my copy of Actors, and he specifically brought up the thing about the Alien and Toy Story comparison. And he's like, I went and rewatched it, and she was right.
Did I say that?
Yes!
Oh, no wonder he never replies to me on Twitter.
That's pretty
Ooh.
good. I didn't know about that.
Paris. Listen, it's better to compare him to an alien from Toy Story than a fucking minion.
That's
Oh,
fair.
Jesus Christ, the most cursed image popped into my head.
God,
Is
no.
it a yellow alien or is it a green minion?
No! It's a minion! It's a minion! No, I'm biting Dominique, but she's still a human.
No!
And instead of the sucking noises, it's the minion noises!
Megan.
Oh.
Megan.
All that boner is gone to the point it's Ken doll smooth now. Ugh.
It's so dry here in Texas right now.
We have a drought warning in our city. We need to conserve the water and the thirst. God. Anyway.
Ah! No! Tommy, I'm gonna bite you!
What the fuck is even happening?
I was trying to make
anymore?
minion noises, but it failed. Anyway, I'm done talking.
Cool. I'm gonna go back to talking somehow. But no, I think one of the fun moments for Steven's Noe is that childlike curiosity and the naivete, which is just stupid, precious, and adorable. And honestly, the best way I can describe Noe as a character is actually as a child. He's very pure, the naivety is there, but something that children tend to also have a lot of times that Noe kind of reminds me of, blunt honesty and wanting to know what's going on. One of my it's one of my favorite interactions between Steven and Zeno is when Noe asks Vanitas, what exactly is love? They're stuck in alternate Paris.
And they're just dancing the
Correct.
night away.
And they're ballroom dancing, and my gay sense is tingling, and
Yes, and because you could just see Noe, like, how it's kind of perceived and how it comes off is like, Mom, Dad, what is love? I don't understand. That, not necessarily exactly that tone and inflection. Like, Noe as a character is purely like a child.
He has the innate childlike curiosity without, like, having grown to the point of being fully judgmental.
Yes. He's not jaded from the world around him. So it brings on this sense of innocence. And I think that's the main character trait for Noe, is just, he's a child. He doesn't know any better. He doesn't know anything. He is a young vampire, for God's sake. He has a long life ahead of him. But I think that childlike quality and curiosity and bluntness, I think, is what endeared me a lot to Stephen Fu's portrayal of Noe, I think. Because you just want what's best. You want what's best for him.
See, when I say Noe is not my type, that's what I mean. Like, I don't like the good ones.
You are always for the bad ones.
I always like the bad boys.
And here you are.
And here I am
Gigi.
with, like, the goodest boy of all time.
Okay, you know what it is, Gigi? You're not I can fix him, you're I can make him worse.
That's accurate. And I have proven that, actually.
Or Gigi is, yeah, I could fix him, but whatever the fuck is wrong with him is better anyway.
Exactly.
It's way funnier, yeah.
Yeah. But no, I definitely really loved Steven as Noe. And at this point, can I kind of just shift over to Zeno?
Yeah.
So, Megan will remember this. Remember a little show called Bungo and Alchemist?
Yes.
And Zeno voiced the Dazai for that one. I believe I said the following, and I'm going to repeat it again now. Osamu Dazai walked so that Vanitas could fucking run.
Yeah, they're very similar performances.
Yes, because I kind of watched both the first core as well as Bungo and Alchemist kind of around the same time frame, so I could hear the similarities. But yeah, Osamu Dazai is more of like, he's very goober gremlin, but it's a bit more subtle. Vanitas, though, is the biggest shit gremlin you could ever imagine. And
He is a shit gremlin to hide his real feelings.
yes.
Which is a lot of regret.
Yes. His outward persona does not match the inward persona. And he tries very hard to hide that by being this outward appearance, like, gremlin, pain in the ass, little bitch kind of thing. So that way people don't get close to him. He basically, on purpose, tends to make people dislike him.
He's a man of many faces, and he will do whatever it takes so that you don't see the real face underneath.
Correct. That's proven the most in the last quarter of the show. Because one of the big things for Vanitas' character is Luna tells him, do not let anyone take your memories. Never let that happen. Keep them closely guarded. And he just kind of goes into self-defense mode, just a blind self-defense mode, tuning everything out in order to protect his memories. But there's a lot of facets with Vanitas' character. Zeno gets to play across the board. He gets to be the little shit gremlin. He gets to be the like
Suave,
romantic guy. He gets to be vulnerable, especially around Jeanne. He gets to be angry. He gets to be very defensive. There's a lot of facets that Vanitas has, and Zeno just gets to run the whole fucking gambit of emotions and little character moments and nuances. And oh my god, there's a reason why I let Zeno have one of my W's from last year. Like, this just ran the gambit, and I just couldn't stop watching to see what was gonna happen to this character next. Vanitas is definitely, I would think, one of the main draws to the show. Granted, you would just stay for Noe and the rest of the characters, but Vanitas is a tour de force, and Zeno is a tour de force, and just matches that, I think, so well, honestly.
So, I mentioned earlier in tonight's episode that I felt the Case Study of Vanitas scratches a very similar itch that shows like Full Metal Alchemist did for me in the past.
Like
it's
mid-2000s anime,
that
right?
mid-2000s like action fantasy anime series. I felt like this show scratches a similar itch. In particular, to me, Zeno Robinson as Vanitas is the alter Earth reality where Zeno Robinson was Edward Elric.
Those are strong
I can get behind
words.
this. 1000%.
Those are strong words. I stand by them 100%. I'm also going to stand by these also equally strong words. This is probably the best performance of Zeno Robinson's entire fucking career.
I agree.
Really?
I think it's up there.
There's a lot of tough competition, but I genuinely think this is one of the most complicated, multifaceted, entertaining, heartbreaking, and just gripping anime dub performances in the entire show. And Zeno is a fucking talented sonbitch. That dude has played the gambit of all types of characters. And Vanitas is a tour de force, as Stephanie has said. And I genuinely think it's some of the best work he's ever done. It's some of his funniest work. It's some of his most, like, action-packed. It's definitely some of his most sensual. I would dare to be challenged to hear a more sensual Zeno Robinson role in the future, and I know people will thank me if he hears that and says, fucking bet. But, God, absolutely incredible performance. Vanitas is a compelling, broken person. And what works is his dynamic relationship with all the characters around him. How he plays off of Jean, how he plays off of Dominique, how he bounces off of everybody, but especially the heart and core of the show is how Vanitas and Noe challenge each other. They are extremely different people with extremely different perspectives. They are rivals as much as they are friends, and possibly something more. They are at least part of the giant polycule either way. But honestly, yeah, I legitimately think this is some of the best work I've ever heard out of Zeno Robinson as a performer. And I think Vanitas is a fucking fascinating character. He is so much fun to watch, and it's such an inspired choice. I think Zeno was the perfect man for this job. Perfect and then some. Fucking incredible.
Yeah, I think this is one of my favorite Xena roles too, because it runs that wide gambit of emotions and complexity, to be honest. So he gets to play with his range a lot.
Also, his moans are also very sexy too, by the way, just saying.
While I agree with a lot of what everyone is saying, well, first of all, when we watched this, Chris was like, hey, that's the dude from the Owl House.
Shit.
And I mean, he's not wrong.
No, he's right. And I was like, so then through a lot of the show, I was like, holy shit, it's the dude from the Owl House. And I had in my head that like Vanitas was like some little kid.
Oh no.
And I was like, that's not right.
So Chris ruined it for you.
Chris kind of ruined it a little. My boyfriend ruined Vanitas for me. Sorry.
I can't believe your boyfriend killed your boner.
I know. That's okay. I got it back with Noe. How Noe got my groove back, I guess. Zeno did an extremely good acting performance here. But to go along with what Andrew said, when I started thinking of this anime as Full Metal Alchemist, I couldn't stop thinking of it like Full Metal Alchemist until it got to the gay shit. And then I was like, oh yeah, this is where it really lies. for me, like, I will always hear Zeno as he is in Kuroko's basketball.
That's a much more growly section.
Yeah, like I gave him a W for Kuroko's basketball, and I stand by it because I hadn't seen this. But even if I had seen this, I'd still give him a W for Kuroko's because I personally enjoyed it more. When I say that Vanitas is more my type, like anime character-wise, I'm not saying that Zeno did a bad job because he definitely did not. He was amazing in this role. Personally, to my aesthetic, I was expecting something different. And that has nothing against him at all. I think his acting chops were phenomenal. I just, early on, after the, hey, that's the dude in the Owl House comment, then I was like, oh my God, this is like Full Metal Alchemist. And I couldn't get it out of my brain. It's not that I dislike Full Metal Alchemist. I'm just not like a huge fan of it like everybody who watches anime ever is. I never finished Brotherhood. Like that's how my Full Metal Alchemist.
I haven't even seen Brotherhood if it makes you feel better.
You know, I got upset that Aaron Dismuke went through puberty and couldn't voice Alphonse anymore. And I was like, it's good, but it's not the same and I don't want to watch it, so I didn't.
I don't even know how to describe the face I am making right now at that comment.
This is just very confused.
If I was to describe it to you, dear audio listeners, it's like, what if somebody just shoved a sour gummy in my fucking butt?
What?
Oh, good. He made the thing going up his ass joke for me.
Thank you. Thank you for that. But no, I got it in my head that now Zeno was an action actor. And that is just not where I thought this anime was going to go. So it threw me off guard. It took me off guard for a large portion of it. But when Vanitas was talking to Jana, when Vanitas was talking to Noe, the chemistry is there between both of those characters, and it's from Zeno's performance. So it took me off guard, I guess, is the best way to describe it. Because I really wasn't expecting a voice like that, the higher timbre of it, I guess. Like, I thought it would be a lot lower. Because in my mind, Vanitas was like sexy dark vampire. And it was like a high timbre, I'm Edward Elric, I'm going to be the everyman of this story. And I wasn't expecting it. Acting top notch. I won't say anything bad about it, except I wasn't expecting it, I guess. I can't get it out of my brain. Why didn't they kiss? Why didn't they kiss?
He said he would kill him, which might as well say, I want to fuck you.
Exactly. Which is what I took it as also. And I was waiting, and then it didn't happen.
We got a long way to go.
I hate you means I love you.
It's true.
Also, he's really funny when he realizes he's down bad for Jean.
Oh, yeah!
Oh, man. Like, I don't know where that's going to go. Like, is that really where it's going to go? Because in my heart, he belongs with Noe.
That's what the polycule's for, Jage.
You also gotta remember, though, there's a huge thing that's said in the very beginning of the show, where Noe outright states that he is the one who ended up killing Vanitas in the end.
$10 on unreliable narrator.
Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm down with that. I'm down with that. They've all got pineapples upside down on their doors. It's fine. Now that I think of it that way.
Pineapples?
Oh my god.
Oh god, I know what that means. That means you're fucking on the cruise ship.
That's the swingers.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, so that's the cruise equivalent of the sock on the door.
No. Well, yes and no. Do I really need to explain this in a podcast?
We can talk about this later. I'll take your word for it.
Because I want to do my thoughts on Vanitas and then move into final thoughts because this recording deck is going on longer than I thought.
Let's go.
So yeah, I think you guys have all really said a lot of great about Zeno as Vanitas. He kind of is a lot of the glue that's holding the show together. He is eccentric, he thinks he has the biggest balls in the walls. To me, though, my favorite scenes with him are definitely when he's, like, talking about fucking with Dr. Moreau for the first time. And those moments where he basically brainwashed himself to kill anybody who tried to get into his memories. Those, like, kind of dead inside moments of, I'm going to get rid of you, until Noe kicks him out of it. I think a lot of people don't compliment Zeno's ability to be, like, super quiet. the moments when they're up on the roofs with each other and they're just talking, like, him and Steven are both so quiet and introspective, and you just feel for them both, and it's a good time. But I can't really add on other than what everybody else has said. So, let's go into final thoughts very quickly. I'll give mine super fast. I think this dub is great. I think the show is fantastic. It scratches a big itch, and I think the thing that I like the most about it is it's an action show that also appeals to a lot of things that, like, female fans want between characters. And the dub of it is phenomenal. I think this is probably one of my favorite things that David Wald has done so far. I obviously have to listen to the other big one that he did this year. But overall, I think it's a great time, and I really, really enjoyed it. Also, just my overall thoughts on the show, and I will say one thing. Listen, we can all argue what the best song is. It's opening number 2, because it's Your Name by Little Glee Monster, because fuck yeah. Next.
My only other counter-argument is the ending 0.
Okay, fair. Those are, like, the 2 best songs.
This show is so easy to fucking binge, by the way. I forgot how good this was, and it's so engrossing. It really does just scratch that right itch of those shows like I watched when I was a much younger fan. This dub's incredible. David Wald is doing a genre that he typically never tackles, which is a much more action-oriented one, while still putting his directorial flourishes on it and making fucking magic happen. This show is great. This dub is great. David Wald's a fantastic director, and the crew of this is immaculate. Zeno, Steven, Molly, Alexis, and the rest of the players are fucking great. You did another banger, David. Messy.
I know you were saying merci.
Did you say messy or merci?
I think he meant merci, but it came out as messy. You missed the look that I just gave him. Like, what the fuck did you just say?
I think it works if you said messy, too.
Oh god,
Merci beaucoup.
Is this how Zeno feels when he's telling everybody that they're fucking idiots when he's embarrassed?
I don't know. I'll make this fast. I know how much I praise David Wald for everything that he does under the sun. I just want to say thank you so much for taking the care that you did with the French language in this. Honestly, if there is one thing that you should take out of this dub for linguists out there, or if you just really have an attachment to French language, the care for the French alone would make me praise this dub to the moon and back. And fortunately, almost everything else about it, he knocks out of the park directing wise also. The acting's phenomenal. There were parts of this show I didn't really care for. Why was there no kissing? Where was the gay? I missed it. It was there, but it wasn't there. Again. However, what my heart longs for may be coming in the future, so I will wait with bated breath. Thank you to everyone involved for taking the time that you did to make this sound phenomenal in English.
Thanks, Gigi. And Steph?
Yes. So, this is a surprise I didn't know I would love as much as I do. It scratches an itch that of a mix of things that I enjoy. Like, sometimes I love action shows. I also love my supernatural shit. I also love my mystery shit. It's a fun culmination, and then we have... The show itself is a delight, and I want more really bad. As for the dub, this is just really impeccable and has some outstanding performances from both leads and supporting casts alike. There was not really a performance I disliked. There might be one or two where it's like a rough patch in the beginning, but that was the extent of it, really. A lot of care and attention was put into the subtleties, the aesthetic, the language. Just there was a lot of care and attention to detail from the staffing side of it that I think it just elevates this show even more. So kudos to everybody involved in this show. If you have not seen the Case Study of Vanitas, please go watch it.
Thank you for making it to this almost 3-ish hour podcast without having seen it.
Not when I'm done with this, it's not gonna be 3-ish fucking hours.
It's been 4.
Not when I'm done with it, it's gonna be that long.
Okay, so if you would like to watch the Case Study of Vanitas, you can watch it over on Crunchyroll. and I believe Funimation. Funimation, however, is being phased out as they have officially merged with Crunchyroll, but at the time of this recording, they are still an operating website. As of this time, currently, there is no home video released, but it may come out afterwards. Unfortunately, as of today's date, it is not. If you would like to read the manga for the Case Study of Vanitas, it is out in English via Yen Press. Please be advised that due to the backup in the supply chain and printers, that it may be hard to find earlier volumes of the series. If you like us and what we do, we are the Dub Talk Podcast. You can follow us here on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, where we stream. Tumblr is dead. If you like us so much that you feel inclined to give us money, and if you only want to do it once, we do have a Ko-fi link in the description below. But if you feel like you want to give us money on a regular basis, we do have a Patreon. And speaking of our Patreon, we do in fact have to give a shout out to some patrons, including my parents, Michelle Travis, Nico Robin but with Yowie Hands, and Victor Mayborda. And our $10 patrons, Anthony Brown, Carly Lesticow, Crimson Echidna, Jacob Wilson, Jared Hawkins, Marissa Lenti, and Otaku Anthony. Just very quickly to say who everybody else is, that is Andrew. You can follow him at MangaMan9000 on Twitter. He is also on podcast ONA, and hangs out around the Funimation Discord and the Anime Dubs Discord. That is Gigi. You can follow her at Animepalooza and on her YouTube channel. I think she is taking a break from that, but she does post every so often, and she's just genuinely awesome. If you'd like to follow Steph, you can follow her at Lilac Anime Review, review spelled R-E-V-U-E, like a theater review. She does tend to stream on Twitch Sunday in the morning playing Pokemon Legend Arceus at the time of this recording, and on Saturday night as of the time of this recording, Andrew and her are going through AI the Somnium Files Nirvana Initiative. If you'd like to follow me, my name is Megan. You can follow me at QueenEra2, where I shitpost on a daily basis. With that being said, alright everybody, we're done. It's time to go back to America.
No.
I don't
No,
wanna.
no.
Oh, it's so pretty here.
What the fuck?
Look at all the sights and the sounds. And look at what are those cats?
Memory. Reaching out toward the moonlight.
Memory.
I was
Alright, look, we
That
can
there.
stay in we can stay in France, however, we do have to work at Baz Luhrmann's Moulin Rouge.
Ah,
Oh,
voulez-vous
God.
coucher avec moi ce soir?
C'est soi.
Alright, Andrew, I'm gonna need you to get up on that elephant.
Ugh, fine. But if that thing thinks I'm a peanut, then I'm fucking bailing.
Peanuts?
No, not now, Anya. With that being said, au revoir, and we are Dub Talk and Otoku-wan, my friend. Hon, that's the word forget!
Love your faces.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
And remember, never plug your boyfriend's ass with a sour gummy bear.
God damn it.
Oh, God.
They're for external use only. I mean, they're not, because you eat them and they go internal, but you know what I mean.
Megan.